Grand Touring Motorsports started as a social group of car enthusiasts, but we've expanded into all sorts of motorsports disciplines, and we want to share our stories with you. Years of racing, wrenching, and motorsports experience brings together a top-notch collection of knowledge and information through our podcast, Break Fix.
Hey everybody, I'm Steve.
And I'm Izzy.
And we're with Everything I Learned from Movies. And tonight,
tonight.
we're actually on another podcast, babe.
What?
I know. I tricked you once again.
Wait, but I took a left when we came down the hall.
Oh, the interwebs are very mysterious, but we are here on Grand Touring Motorsports Break Fix Podcast. Welcome.
What's up? Welcome back, Steve and Izzy. How you guys doing?
Great. How about you?
Not too bad. Last time we talked, we went a whole gamut of different car-related movies, and we did it in a drag race format. But this time we decided, why don't we hone in on one special gem in the movie world? And with me tonight is our co-host, Brad, as well as our executive co-producer of the Drive-Thru series, Tanya, and a fan favorite, Mountain Man, Dan.
Yeah!
Hey.
How's everybody doing?
So before we get started, I just have to say, Eric, we need to up our podcast game and we need a jingle.
I know, right?
We need a harmonized jingle because we're missing out big time.
Look, I'll tell you, the key to success is marry your co-host. It's so much easier to get scheduling.
Is that legal here in Maryland, Eric? Can we do that?
I think it
I
is.
think Maryland was one of the first.
I mean, what would our jingle sound like? Everything I learned from driving, and I didn't crash.
Well, I think they might sue us for copyright infringement.
Yeah, that's probably not good.
No, worse, we judge you.
Yeah, we're like, we did it better. Anyway,
We would auto-tune it.
oh, there you go.
So, what movie are we talking about tonight, guys?
Oh man, we are talking about a movie I didn't even know really existed. 1978's Corvette Summer.
Wait, your dad never said the joke every time you were watching any Star Wars movie? Hey, that's the guy from Corvette Summer?
No.
Okay.
Well, my dad has a sense of humor. Sorry, babe.
I mean, I tried to write an intro for this, and I came up with one line, and I stole it. It says, a high school grad and a hooker in training try to track down his stolen Corvette. Need we say more?
That basically sums it up.
No. It's not his. They just try to track down a Corvette.
A stolen Corvette.
Belongs to the school.
They're trying to hunt down school property.
So
That's a good student right there.
so much cringe. So much cringe.
Look, schools used to care about their students, I guess.
I guess.
I mean,
Any
guess
school that serves a minor scotch in a tin cup, and we'll get to
right.
that.
Oh, we will. By the way, did you guys go to a shop class when you were in high school? Like, was it still around? I don't know if it's still a thing. But
We didn't have one at DeMatha.
I spent the
don't think-
majority of my high school career in the auto shop class, so
nice.
this was very similar in the aspect of being in the shop class working on stuff, so I can relate to it.
Wait, you took field trips to the junkyard too?
No, those were trips with my stepfather.
I mean, I know it's the backyard, the back 40, but still.
Is that where Daniel gets the idea for all these diamonds in the rough? Diamonds in the rust.
Excellent. Well, before we get started, I don't
Steve,
know
we're
about you
too
guys.
sober
Yeah,
to talk about this movie.
Oh, that's very,
Oh.
very true.
too sober. So from Wasatch Brewery here near Salt Lake City, Utah, we have their Devastator Double Buck,
Yeah.
which is 8% alcohol by volume. Man, this is one of our favorite beers. It's pretty fantastic.
Let's see. If you're going to sin big. Our double bock is a sweet, toasty, and rich, but finishes gentle. This beer has developed a serious cult following. Imagine that, a cult in Utah.
Ah!
Can't be true.
And Matop
My top.
in harmony.
Well, on our side, I'm leading the charge with a GTM paddock favorite because only the finest things come in red solo cups. This is the one, the only, the Jaeger Monster. Half Jaeger, half sugar-free white monster. This is
Oh,
legit.
Jesus.
I don't know its ABV. I don't know anything.
You know, I
It
call
works.
it my sugar-free white monster as well. So
That's what she
Honey,
said.
I told you, no more pillow talk on
I'm
the
sorry.
podcast.
I'm sorry, just the sugar-free, it was too perfect. It's all protein.
It's all protein.
We could just
Anyway,
do
how
this
was
for
it?
an hour and a half. We don't need to talk about the movie. This would be better radio.
I know you're not supposed to drink and drive, but you can definitely drink and pod. And
1,000%. And I wish I had pre-gamed for this movie. So speaking of pre-gaming, Steve, tell us all about this wonderful piece of 70s.
Well, I mean, to start off, it comes from writer-director Matthew Robbins.
who's he, Steve?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. This was actually his first movie.
Wow.
You can
And
tell.
then he went on to do,
What?
okay, these are some great movies that will definitely pop up on our podcast eventually. Dragon Slayer, you've all seen that one, right? I think that's the Peter McNichol when he's like 18 or something fighting a dragon.
Okay, yeah.
The Legend of Billie Jean.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a winner.
Batteries Not Included. We all saw that when we were kids.
We talked to the writer of that
That's a
script.
gem.
Oh, we sure did. That's right.
Yeah.
S.S. Wilson. And a 1991 movie called Bingo, which I had to look up. It's about a runaway circus dog befriending a boy, and it stars Kurt Fuller, Glenn Shaddix, and a bear.
I'm in this October.
Right?
Wait,
he's
is the dog's name Bear?
No,
No,
it
it-
stars the bear, apparently.
There's a dog, and of course, because he's a circus dog, there's also got to be a circus bear.
Wow.
Is that like the Clint Eastwood movie with the monkey? What was that called?
Every
so.
which way but
Every which way
loose?
but loose.
Probably.
Right Turn, Clyde is a famous line from that.
Or Any Which Way You Can.
That
Is that
ever
the
mattered-
sequel?
I mean, the only dog that ever mattered to me in the movie was Fred from Smokey and the Bandit. I'm just going to lay it out there.
You never watched Homeward Bound?
Oh, Homeward Bound. That touched
If you
the
didn't cry
heartstrings.
when Shadow fell down that hole, you have no soul.
Mm.
I think you
but-
just described Eric to a T.
I associate with Darth Vader, but we'll talk about that later.
But you may be wondering, Matthew Robbins, you said he's a writer too. How did he start off with something huge like Corvette Summer?
Yeah,
right.
the sequel to the Star Wars franchise.
He wrote Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Mimic from the mid-90s. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Probably mistake it with The Relic. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, Crimson Peak, and coming soon, he wrote Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio that's coming out next year, apparently, with the voice
Ooh.
talents of Kate Blanchett, Tilda Swinton, Ron Perlman, Christoph Waltz, Ewan McGregor, Finn Wolfhard, John Turturro, and Tim Blake Nelson.
So he wrote some of my favorite movies of all time.
Apparently.
That's a pretty great cast for the new Pinocchio movie, by the way.
I mean, who knew Corvette Summer would launch this epic career?
Right.
Nobody.
Indeed. Yeah, and then of course the cast, we have legendary thespian Mark Hamill as Kenneth W. Dantley Jr. This was basically his follow-up to Star Wars, like immediately after.
Is it before or after the accident? We were trying to figure it out.
It would be
Uh,
after if it's after Star Wars.
Yeah, so we got a little fun fact about it. Both of the film's leads were in car accidents prior to principal photography. The other one, Annie Potts, you might know her best as Janine from Ghostbusters.
Woo!
This is her feature film debut. She's also in
Why
Designing
does
Women.
everybody know her best from Ghostbusters? Did nobody watch Designing Women?
I say, yeah, she was on Designing Women apparently, but you know, Find me a
Cinema,
man who's
not,
seen that
not,
movie
not
for, like,
TV.
or show. Or
7
whatever.
years.
Wasn't she a sugar baker?
Oh, it's
Sugar
been a hot
Bear?
minute.
Well, she's also like the grandma on Young Sheldon or something now, and no
Yes.
one knows that.
Really? I did not know that.
Because nobody watches TV anymore.
We stream it all. But to your point,
Yeah.
we were looking at this and it's her fourth IMDb credit, but it
Ooh.
turns out it's her first movie. And Tanya found something pretty interesting about her being in her first movie and this being her first movie.
Oh.
Well, there was a Golden Globe Award for New Star of the Year, which she was nominated for with this movie.
Ooh,
Oh,
my.
wow.
Unfortunately, she lost out to somebody I've never heard of,
Meryl Streep.
Irene Miracle from the movie Midnight Express.
Oh, I've seen Midnight
Oh.
Express.
Yeah, how about that?
Let's see.
Just proves how terrible the 70s were.
We also found out that that award was subsequently removed 2 years later, so it doesn't exist anymore.
1982, the last one, yes, they moonlighted that out, and Sandal Bergman from Conan the Barbarian was the last to receive that award.
And then they're
Good
like,
stuff.
well, we can't top that.
Okay, I would say, like, what have we watched? She's the girl from Puppet Master.
What, Annie Potts?
No, Irene Miracle.
Oh.
We've seen her and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And she won it for what movie was it?
Midnight,
Midnight
Express.
Oh, Midnight Express. Oh, okay.
You confused it with Pineapple Express. I got it. It's all
Or Sugarland
Mm.
Express or
Polar
American
Express.
Yeah. 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 She was the Tom Hanks CGI thing, right? Yeah. She was the bear, I think.
Well, if we're talking trivia too, Mark Hamill, right? I don't even think of him as Luke Skywalker anymore. When somebody says Mark Hamill, I immediately think the Joker from Batman, right? Batman the animated series.
Okay, guys, I'll throw this out there. Mark Hamill, especially in this movie, he's an okay looking guy, but he's like Ron Howard, like he's a weird, awkward looking teen. Thank God he got a career as a voice actor.
Well, it's probably why he got a career as a voice actor, because who wanted him to be the leading man in Hollywood movies? He just
obviously George Lucas.
Well, but you got to consider the audience.
He would be
there.
the best looking guy at a church potluck.
Somebody said it, and I don't remember who it was. He's a weird looking dude, and he's an ugly woman. Like he can't do either one.
He was an ugly young man, which he wasn't that young in this movie, but he was an ugly young man heading towards middle age. But he's actually a much better looking older man. So he's finally, after 50 years, aged into himself.
Meanwhile,
best of us.
Annie Potts, holy cow! Wow, right? What a looker!
Annie Potts can get it.
Yeah, she is a goddamn cutie in this movie. I'm not gonna lie.
she reminded me of like a mini me version of Sigourney Weaver from Alien. She kind of had that with the hair and everything. She had that very like petite kind of, but Sigourney Weaver's like 8 feet tall. So
I was thinking, what's her face from My Cousin Vinny? She had that kind of.
Oh, Marissa Tomei.
Yeah.
We need to do an episode just on leading ladies.
Do an episode apparently just on wafy brunettes.
There you go. Well, we'll talk about her costumes as we go along as well, because
which one is the as the drive-through lady, or as the prostitute in training, or as the car wash person, or whatever, however many 50 million jobs she had at the beginning of this movie.
I love her hustle.
It was good.
Gotta respect it. Respect the hustle.
I mean, she even shows up as a Bond girl towards the end.
Right?
Yeah.
Excuse me, do I know you? All right, so we start off, of course, in everybody's favorite location, the Junkyard.
Woo!
Just looking at all these prime 60s and 70s cars just stacked on top of one another like hamburgers.
I love how they're in their prime in the junkyard.
Yeah. The prime of when cars were made.
That opening scene, I know Dan got super excited. Like, he was all, his blood pressure was all the way up.
He was looking for parts for his car.
1,000%, right? But I'm sitting there looking at this going, oh my God, this is going to be like other 70s movies. It had that grainy look to it, the way they filmed it back then, and with the music. And I'm just like, what are we doing in this? And I'm like, oh God, I'm preparing for an hour and 44 minutes of torture. I'm just like, oh boy.
Oh, come on. The soundtrack was pretty funky. I liked it.
It was. The glitter was a nice touch.
Oh, yeah.
The soundtrack was 100% John Carpenter.
I made a note that the soundtrack did not fit the movie at all to me.
Sorry.
None of the scenes fit with the soundtrack.
Yeah. We watched 2 movies today. My brain stopped working.
Yeah, we watched Shadow in the Cloud. Came out last year, by the way.
Never mind.
Interesting movie. But yeah, that's the John Carpenter one.
Sorry, my brain.
Sly and the Family Stone
That's
or something.
right.
Yeah.
I'm going to quiz Dan. What was in the Crusher before he found the Corvette? Were you paying attention?
Are you talking about the Rambler?
Oh, ding, 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 ding.
That's easy. It said it on the front of the car.
I wanted to see if he was paying attention.
It was spelled out for him.
Joe Dirt spent a lot of time trying to track down a Rambler. All right.
Well, apparently Mark Hamill spends a lot of time tracking down a Corvette. So here we go.
I love the fact that the second line in the movie was, there's a Volkswagen. We could turn it into a buggy.
I did notice that.
Nothing foreign.
But I gotta be honest. Of all the times, and Dan can probably say this too, that we've spent in junkyards, even as kids before we knew each other, I have never seen a Corvette in the junkyard.
Yeah, it's true. I've never seen one. I've seen a couple Camaros, but yeah, Corvettes.
No Corvettes. So I'm already suspending disbelief at this point, right? So let's go from there.
I'm going to say my reason for thinking there's never been any Corvettes in junkyards is because they're fiberglass. They're not worth anything to the junkyard. So people show up with them like,
I mean, that thing was pretty roached out. I'm really surprised. This is the car, and he's screaming. And I think the funniest part of that particular scene is when he gets to the control booth and he's yelling at the guy. He's like, hey. And both my wife and I are like, just hit the freaking button. The red button. Do you see the button?
The big red one that says "hit here."
I
Yeah.
mean, it took
see, like,
forever.
that sets us up for that. Like, he's this high school kid who's not that good at stuff, but he's good at cars.
You're absolutely right. I'm like, what is going on? So where do we go from there, guys?
Basically, yeah, Luke Skywalker jumps in at the last minute to save the vet from being crushed. And then we go to shop class and we get a nice little montage of like the car being made. And yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
him
all I
getting
could think
D's in
was
all his
Luke-
other classes.
Luke Skywalker has to build a 10-second car for Dom Toretto.
Yeah.
So let's talk about shop class. So Eugene Roche, I guess is how you pronounce his last name, or Roche, I guess. I literally turned to my wife because we watched the movie together. I said, isn't that the guy who played the dad on Home Improvement? Wasn't that like Jill's dad or whatever? But I mistook him for somebody else. But that guy's been in a ton of movies.
Oh, yeah.
But he has this reputation for kind of being a little skeezy. So I already had something forming in my head as we went along. And I don't want to spoil it for folks till we get there. But I was like, man, what is going on?
Oh, we also get to see that little Kenny, Luke Skywalker, he lives in a trailer park with his mom, and we see her as she's like getting back from a date or whatever late at night. He's been locked out of the house, and then we get the little like kiss on the lips between them. Guys, how old were you when you stopped kissing your mom on the lips?
5.
Wow.
3.
Yeah, I was going to
25.
say, my daughters gave up at maybe 2. But I will not forget that scene because she's like, come here and give mom a kiss. And as soon as they have, my wife goes, what the F?
Damn, trailer park people.
Boundary issues.
It was the 70s. Come on.
It wasn't just some short little peck though. There was like some
Oh,
length
yeah.
to that kiss, which was like the creepy part of it.
Or she like grabbed the back of his head. I'm like, what is going on? Oh,
Steve, kiss me like I'm your
Oh.
mom.
Oh, no, God, what? Why would you do that?
but I realized something very quickly. There's a parallel between this and A New Hope. In this movie and in that one, Luke Skywalker doesn't have a dad.
And he kisses a family
Aw.
member. Wait.
Hey!
Yeah, so okay, we find out he's like failing, I don't know, science or whatever. And the teacher's a real dick when they spell out D- minus on the paper. That's like rubbing it in, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then you go back to the scene where he's in shop again and he's working on now David Carradine's Death Race 2000 Corvette. Did you guys see this hood? What was going on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely Death Race 2000. Yeah, like I kept expecting, I'm trying to think of a stupid name for a character, Machine Gun Joey or whatever to come out. Yeah.
No, instead you got the annoying friend Danny Bonaducci coming out. That was the redhead in the movie.
Oh yeah, the redhead guy Coots or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe that. At first I was like, what? Who? No way. But
Who's
I will
he in
say
the movie.
it was a cameo appearance at 9 years old or whatever. What got me though is he's doing all this work, and people, I have to inform you, as Dan mentioned, Corvettes have been made of fiberglass since the early 1950s. So when he's sanding and doing all this work with no mask on, I'm like, yeah, those are those California laws, that we have now about breathing in things and whatnot. I'm like, dude, this is not cool. What
That's
was
why he
also
looks so young and youthful.
And
I
then
love
we
how you thought about his health and safety.
I did, right?
You're such a dad.
There's a big red OSHA stamp on there. No.
Where's the inspector?
Guys, I just want to let you know our 20-year-old podcat, Mr. Pickles, has entered the scene, and he's great at unplugging things.
Nice.
If you hear jingly bells or we just disappear, blame Mr. Pickles. In fact,
We
this
have
little
lots of
shirt on
fans who love
TeePublic
Mr.
that says,
Pickles.
damn it, Pickles.
Correct me, they revealed the car before the giant makeout music montage, right?
Yeah, they kind of tease it, and then he does like the lonely walk where he walks by and people are just making out really stationary and slowly as he's walking by, and then casually like walks into the prom, and I'm like, did you not hear the music or something?
But then it was like all over
music?
town. Like I felt like we were watching like an American in Paris suddenly. It's like, why is everybody making out all over the place?
Yeah, he walks by the Eiffel Tower and then the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and then
Streetcar goes by.
Yeah,
It's because it was the 70s.
So I gotta ask, when they unveiled the car for the first time, open the garage door and he rolls out in a plume of tire smoke, what did we think? Let's do a round robin. Knee jerk. What did everybody think? Tanya,
Hot trash.
Dan,
Why?
Brad,
Hot Wheels come to life.
Steve, and Izzy, what did you think? What's your gut reaction?
tits.
You know what I thought? And this is the nerd in me. I looked at this thing and I go, damn, we just stepped into the Transformers movie. It's Hot Rod come to life.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, Rodimus my ride, baby.
I had sort of a similar thing, but more a film nerd thing. I was like, I wonder what's faster, that thing or the Wraith?
Ooh, nice pull.
I was just like, I was watching this, that just where my brain went. I'm like, what would win in a race? That or the race car? All right.
It's not the
I'm
most
gonna be on the
aerodynamic hood you've ever seen in your life, but it'll take in that air.
What is the car from the Wraith? I forget.
I want to say it's a Pontiac something. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like
It's
a
I
Pontiac
think that's where the
concept
Pontiac
car or
Banshee
something.
came
Yeah,
from.
and it was like
the
a
concept art for
prototype.
that.
Yeah.
They put a lot of time and money into that 15-second quarter-mile Corvette.
All right. It
Tanya.
is a Dodge M4S Turbo Interceptor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
All
wrong.
right.
We were all wrong. As a Mopar, I'm now suddenly proud.
Well, I guess after he casually walked into the prom or whatever, his shop teacher saw him there. I guess he was a chaperone or something, and he follows him back to the shop because I don't know, he either followed him or heard a noise from the prom. I don't know, whatever. But he walks in and is like,
Oh, the kid's
Who's
gonna go
there?
and jerk off on that car.
"Yeah, oh,
again.
yeah." He's totally like, "Oh, you're not sticking your dick in the gas tank again, are you?"
We don't have this kind
Oh.
of wax budget. We're a public school kid.
Well, here, let me give you some whiskey, Dick. Let's go drink some scotch in a Dixie cup back here. And
See, he's just trying to save the school some money.
Hey, he was high class. He had 10 prison cups. I'm drinking out of a red Solo cup here, people. I mean, come on.
my mistake. Yeah.
I want to jump on that because immediately we paused the movie because my wife goes, hold on a second. This guy's like a senior in high school, junior. Like we're trying to figure out how old he is at this point.
Mhm.
And she goes, wait, was alcohol legal at that age in the 70s? And it turned into this 20-minute, we're going to search Google and find out the laws and all this kind of thing. Turns out in 1933, California passed the law that the legal drinking age was 21. So little nerd fact there. So I was like, oopsie.
You never had the cool teacher who slid
yeah,
you
I
on
was gonna
something
say.
illegal?
I think that was a foreshadowing into the character of
Yeah.
the teacher that you find out about later. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Let's think about this. Cars are also stolen in this movie. Prostitution is fairly rampant. Yeah, there's some illegal things going on.
Prostitution is just like a hobby.
Luke
That was
Skywalker
amazing.
gets
That
hit
was
with
a
car
goal.
Prostitution is like a potential career path for a young woman.
after
Yeah.
she's been an amateur for so long, which basically means whoring.
She wants to go pro.
Dude, that was one of the best lines. What did she say? She goes, she
Unless
goes,
an
I'm,
amateur
I'm
has
a
to go pro or something.
yeah, she goes, I'm a trainee. Time comes when every amateur goes pro. I'm like, damn, that's awesome. You go, girl.
Own it, girl.
So we're still like kind of in this period of the car is new and hot, right? They're bringing it on the scene. And after I did the whole trying to get the Transformers imagery out of my head, the next thing that popped into my mind was, why the hell is this thing right-hand drive?
Bingo. But no foreign cars. We're going to take it domestic and make it right-hand drive.
But Brad, you found an answer to that, didn't you?
I did. It's because Mark Hamill wanted to be able to sit closer to the curb so he could holler at the ladies.
That is actually written on IMDb. Can you believe that?
By someone who made it up, I'm
Super
sure.
fun fact.
So does that imply that he actually thought that was a car that should be driven around on public roads when the movie wasn't filming?
That was probably his personal car.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
probably owns that car.
Yeah, he had Star Wars money, baby.
Hey, baby,
Yeah, he
you want
bought
to see a
he
Jedi's
bought
lightsaber?
He bought a Stingray with his Star Wars money.
I mean, you think about it, all the young individuals at that time, like Dirk Diggler, wanted a Corvette. You know,
Not
was
that
the
Corvette.
girl.
Who wants a C3 Corvette? Seriously.
At that time,
I would take
I don't
one.
understand it looking back, but it was like a lot of the
At the
kids
time,
that
everybody was like, it's a Corvette.
yeah.
See that or a Pinto, am I right?
I mean, they modeled the car for the ambiguously gay duo off of that Corvette. I mean, come on, right? I mean, oh my goodness. So then we're on this street race scene. Like suddenly we're in Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, the teacher takes the school build team to the drag races.
Not even drag race, it's just dragging up and down the strip.
Yeah,
that's
that's just
all.
running
Just
up-
like
Yeah, it's
just
American
hollering at
graffiti.
ladies on your PA.
That's a running up and down the strip Friday night, Saturday night in any small town back in the day.
Yeah,
The
they're
police
probably
didn't
down there on
care. The
Sunset.
police were standing right in the middle of the road. They didn't care.
Can I say something?
When they're standing in the middle of the road, it happens like 4 times this movie. I'm like, okay, hit him with the car again. Because it happens later. But
Well, it is a death race car. I mean, come on, right?
I've got a pop
How many
quiz for you
points are
guys, though.
pops?
Did anybody notice what kind of motorcycles the police were riding?
BMW?
Close, because it is a foreign motorcycle. It's a
Was
Moto
it
Guzzi.
Oh, was it Moto Guzzi? I was going to say
Moto
a
Guzzi.
Triumph.
No, it was a Moto Guzzi. Italian.
Really? Well, I got a quiz for you then too. If you remember, since you were talking about Mark Hamill leaning out the window of the Corvette, pulling up to the curb, when he pulled up,
Is that
to
how
the
he
curb,
lost his arm for Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah, 1,000%. Did you spot the car that was behind him? I'll give you a hint. It was white. The first time they showed the car from the aerial view when he was downtown for the drag race.
Challenger from Vanishing Point.
Alvis Gray Lady.
It is
Carmen Ghia?
the only car built in Canada, a Bricklin.
That's not the only car that was built in Canada, though. Camaro.
No, the only car that has ever been manufactured from Canada, not assembled in Canada.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, moving on. The drag races were terrible.
Yeah, well, yeah. So
I
yeah,
love the burnout before the drag race too, and then you launch during a burnout. That's a great way to go really fast.
That's how you go faster. Come on. Anybody who's ever stood in a parking lot knows burnouts are how guys measure their dicks. I mean, go faster. I don't know what I'm saying.
On those bias ply.
Well, I'm just amazed by the fact that it didn't kick the ass in sideways over into the car next to it as he launched.
I was thinking the same thing, as a matter of fact. The stunt driver was amazing. He did a good
It didn't
job.
have enough power. That whopping 200 horsepower out of that 8-liter V8 Corvette.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true.
So in the movie, the teacher sends one of the guys in the car to like go pick up 8 large Cokes and a Sprite for me. And remember, take the keys with you and blah, blah, blah. And it just shows him like walking away, like not listening or whatever. Like, is he going to leave the keys in the fucking car? Nope. But yeah, it got stolen. And like hours later, he comes walking back with the sodas. I just be like, all right, I got to leave town. I got to change my name.
Right?
Not just walking down with the sodas, but walking down in the middle of a 4-lane road. I'm like,
Yeah,
did
with
that have
nobody else there
sidewalks?
too.
It's LA, right? I'm confused.
Well, it must have been towards the end of the night when the cops chased everybody off, because you notice there was no
Mhm.
traffic at the point when he's walking back.
Yeah, see,
It's the fuzz.
the cops lost enough money on the race that they decided to break it up and send everybody home.
That makes way more sense.
What's that? Where's my $200? Get your ass in the back of my car. Everybody out of here. Hoity, hoity, hoity. Where are the cops Irish in LA? I don't know. Where were we? So,
The car was stolen.
Oh, Tanya has a fun fact to share.
ooh.
Apparently, according to the Corvette Museum, there were actually 2 of these atrocities that were made. And one of them, as in this photo, was actually the traditional hand drive that we are accustomed to in this country. So I'm not sure where that was used in the movie. If there was like
Aerial
other
views.
scenes maybe that we didn't
Yes,
catch where the
stunt
driver
driving.
was on the left side.
Oh, you know what? It was probably like all the shots where it was like on the street legal. Like that was their street legal one.
Maybe.
Makes sense.
When
Or
they
probably
needed,
all
like-
the shots where the car is actually moving.
Yeah.
And apparently one of these, I guess they're referencing, I think in this photo, the left-hand drive. And then there's a comment that's saying that the other one is in a private collection in Australia. This was as of 2016.
Oh, so we still know where this car is. That's kind of cool.
So the right-hand drive one is in Australia.
Yeah.
Fun facts, super fun facts. It's fun fact.
Badoop boop.
I'm just
Oi,
curious.
bud,
who
you
was
ever see
involved
the
in
Corvette Summer? Oi, oi.
This is going to jump
Crikey.
ahead quite a bit, but I just want to say, when he, spoiler alert, finds the car and the guy knows that he's on to him and he says, we got to paint this car. Yeah, that's going to hide it. Not the fact that it's, right-hand drive. It's one of one. We'll just
That
paint
hood.
it. You'll never know it's the same car.
No, you're looking for a red car, man. That's obviously a gold car.
Yeah, sorry.
So yeah, it's stolen. Kenny like flips out and like starts beating the shit out of Danny Bonaducci, which is, whatever.
The most.
I love how the cops are just like, well, he kind of deserved it. But
No assault charges. No, we're not pressing any charges tonight.
yeah, but I love when he like goes to the cops and is like, hey, this car got stolen. Can you help me find it? Like, well, I don't know. A lot of Corvettes get stolen, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, this is the only one with a hood that looks like Godzilla's back, though. So it should be pretty easy to find.
So then we get sad panda Luke Skywalker at that point. He's all mopey and depressed, right?
Mopey and depressed. Okay, this dude looked like he was strung out on I don't know what the entire time, either coming down off something or trying to get back up on something. Like he was
Painkillers.
so wigged out the whole time. It was annoying.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
He's high on the
Yeah.
love of his car. You guys should know this feeling. You just can't stop thinking about it. You're just lying in bed like, oh, do you think it thinks about me?
I mean,
I'm wondering if he had like pink eye in this movie too. Did anyone catch how like one eye was all red on one side? Like,
guys, okay, I'll get to the fun facts again. Both Mark Hamill and Annie Potts were in car accidents prior to principal photography. I mean, maybe it's side effect from that. Apparently, let's see, Potts got pins in her leg while Hamill got a broken nose. Oh, there we go, broken nose.
That'll do it.
Staple
That'll
it back
do it.
together. I don't know.
Yeah, I seem to remember he had to have like half his face sewn back on.
well,
the
he
second
must
one.
have been in multiple car accidents because there was articles saying that before New Hope, or what is the second
The
episode
Empire
5,
Strikes
whatever.
Back. Yeah.
That, like at the very beginning of the movie, they have whatever monster like scratch him, and basically it hid the fact that his face was disfigured.
Yeah,
from
because they had to like sew his face back on.
Yeah.
I thought
That
that was
would've
a
been- that would've
motorcycle
been-
accident.
That would have been after this movie.
No,
though.
there's a car accident in Malibu, apparently.
Driving that god awful Corvette. That's why.
Oh, probably. That's why I gave the other one to Brian James, his co-star from this movie, and he's living down in Australia now.
Oh, that's not a Corvette.
Corvette.
See what happens. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the cops come by, like, oh, yeah, I guess there's a ring of car thieves. I guess you're full fucked because they probably took it to another state. Anyway, have a nice day, everybody.
Yep, they definitely can never find a car across state lines. Ask me about when my dad bought a stolen Jeep on eBay accidentally.
Ooh, that's a juicy bit of hot take.
Oh, it was like the early days of eBay when you could still like bid on like human hearts and like weird shit. And he bought a Jeep. The listing was quote like in boxes, and it was out of Florida, and we were in California. And he was like, "Yeah, I can assemble this," because he is a mechanic and he's brilliant at that stuff. He paid a ton of money to have it shipped in. He assembled it and got it running. Built it in our driveway. Drove it down to go get it registered. Turns out it was stolen. Sheriff's department seized the whole thing.
Wow.
Oh.
He was SOL.
The old days of eBay are amazing. I remember when you could buy ad space on women's chests and put your logo on there. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's neat. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember when that couple like sold their virginity on eBay.
Where's the Picard like head in hand emoji right now?
Well,
All
also,
I know is
follow-up question, how much?
You know what? I can
What,
Google
what was
it.
the final bid?
real sad thing is how we haven't really progressed as a society.
Yeah.
No, because it would be an NFT now, like that lady who's selling farts in a jar, right? So there you go.
Fans only, baby. All right.
Woo!
So, or OnlyFans. I don't even know what's called.
All right. They started like eBay, so it would have been around 1999. The most expensive virginity went for $32,000. Another one went for $12,800.
A bargain.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like what stays in Vegas, or wait, how does that go?
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So anyway, what happens from here? Kenny or whatever is working at the gas station, and some guy just comes along one day and he sees the little, have you seen this car thing? He's like, oh yeah, I saw that car. I was all in Vegas. I was a little drunk, but it was sitting on a mirror, all ready to be bid on. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and buy a comb for a dime. Guys, did they have comb dispensers in the 70s?
Yes.
I think that was the guy replenishing the stock for the condoms and the combs and the things like that in the bathroom because he
Well,
took stuff out of his trunk to take it over and put it in there to refill.
Yeah, what were the jokes of Hooch or whatever that were in the backseat? It looked like he was like a shine smuggler.
I think
Yeah,
it was
I
the
mean-
cleaning materials. Like
I don't
for
know,
the
some of it looked like bottles of liquor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, weird. But anyway, yeah. So then Mark Hamill's like, "Oh my god, I got to hitchhike to Vegas now." By the way, that's my excellent Mark Hamill voice. But Tashi, you and I were gonna go hit some torque converters.
Oh man.
So yeah, along the way, he gets picked up by like a hearse on hydros that's going 15 miles an hour. And
I'd say
eventually-
I loved that car, by the way.
Right?
I like the paint job. Although, so when they're in the car, they're talking about you're a GM man. Wasn't he driving a Buick Riviera? Isn't that what that car was?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
it
I
was.
thought it was an old school.
It isn't
deal,
Buick
yeah.
GM. So what
The
the hell
Riviera.
kind of bullshit is
Yeah,
that?
Steve was
But I love the
graveyard.
graveyard motif painted on the side.
That was
Pretty
cool.
sick.
But I will say, I suddenly realized, and my wife pointed this out too. She goes, Kenny's kind of a douche. He's a one car man. Like he has no appreciation for other vehicles. And I'm like, did you just say that out loud? Like, who are you? Who did I marry? Right. So I had a very prideful moment at that point. So that scene meant a lot to me at the end, you know?
He's got the tunnel vision. He only has eyes for her.
It's the only woman he's ever loved besides his mom. So
so that's actually begs a really good question, because in the car community, a lot of us name our vehicles. So what do we think the name of the Corvette is? Or maybe we hold that to the end as we think about this a little bit more.
Guys, it's in the title. The Corvette's name is Summer.
Oh, shit.
He's looking for Corvette Summer.
Oh, damn. You know, my mind is melted now. It's over.
The working title was Summer the Corvette, but they're like, that sounds stupid. Switch it up.
Corvette the Summer. Get rid of the the.
Yeah, get that out of there. What else could it be? Like Yvette? I don't know.
Ooh, I like that. I like
Vanessa.
that.
Oh, God. Okay. We're going to get to it. But Vanessa, I'm like, oh, fuck. That's the name this movie should have been.
Oh, I was like, honey, are we doing this for the Grind Bin podcast?
Yeah.
That was the sequel that nobody watched, Vanessa.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would watch Vanessa. We
I
have
would
watched a lot
too.
of 70s van movies, okay, guys?
And it ends with her having to get a job as a receptionist in New York. Boom, Ghostbusters prequel.
I quit better jobs in this.
There you
Janine
go.
Origins.
Oh, I like
Real
that.
name.
Uh,
It's canon.
So anyway, yeah, they're going like 50 miles an hour. He's like, hey, can we go a little faster for God's sakes? And he's like, oh man, we're all about class, not speed. And he's like, cool, I'm just gonna step out of this car
Yeah, and then
real
he's
quick.
like-
Bye.
Like, we're going to Tijuana. Like, aren't you excited? And it's like, no, you said you were going to Vegas. That's why he jumped
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, like Los Alamos. And I'm like, that's not what? Are they going somewhere else now?
We're gonna bunny hop to Mexico, apparently.
Is he gonna be human traffic? Yeah.
I think he was gonna like lose a kidney.
My wife, being the nerd that she is sometimes, she goes 15 miles an hour. It's like a 300-mile trip to LA to Vegas, right? So that's like they're going to spend the whole day hopping, but like you said, bunny hopping their way to Las
Yeah.
Vegas. Ugh,
You
brutal.
will run out of gas past Zizix. I guarantee it.
I like how the one scene, as they pull away, as he got out of the car, the one car starts to bounce, and you can see the front of it start going towards the side of the road because the guy can't keep it straight as it starts to move.
Yeah.
The back almost ruined it, all of them. They were like being followed by like a gremlin or something, and like that guy slammed on the brake.
But this begins the epic just waterfall of Annie Potts one-liners.
Oh yeah, because
She's so good in this, guys.
Yeah.
She is like the shining light in this movie. Every scene with her is magical.
yeah, so he's walking alongside the road, El Mariachi style, and a van pulls over, gives a little honk honk, opens up, and she's got headphones on and just yelling gibberish for whatever reason. I don't know.
So you got your Luke Skywalker impression. I'm going to do my best Annie Potts. So here we
Shit,
go.
Here we go. Silence, everybody, silence.
Dr. Venkman, if you're going to hitchhike, you got to stick something out.
Nailed it. So yeah, we find out her name's or no, we don't find out her name. She's like, oh yeah, I'm going to Vegas, and if you really want to appreciate the van, look in the back. You like kind of get a peek back there. It's like, is that a bed? And
Oh yeah.
like a 4-post bed? What the hell's going on back there?
It's not just a bed, though.
It's a
Oh.
water bed.
Yeah, we find out it's a fully tricked out bedroom with like a fridge and
Oh, red
lighting and
red shag carpeting up the walls.
Ugh.
There's a fridge. Like, I could live in this van. I won't lie.
Oh,
I know
hell
that
yeah.
this van smells like wet dogs. I know this. And I
1,000%.
I
I would-
still would live in this van.
Wet dogs is a lot better smell than what I was anticipating it smelled like with her line of work.
Hey now, family show. Family
Just
show.
saying.
So these kinds of vehicles always end up smelling like a wet dog. They just always do.
Well, it was like every airplane scene you've ever seen in TV or movie. I'm like, they're not that big in real life. It's like the TARDIS, right? It's bigger on the inside than the
Right?
outside.
It's like, how is that on the road?
You know what though? Annie Potts is tiny.
And so is Mark
And
And
Hamill.
Mark
is it?
Hamill's not very big.
No.
This might be real van size.
It's like that show on what is it, A&E, like Little Houses or whatever. Like people live in the micro houses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or like our producer here will remember this. The little Polly Pocket vans. And Polly could like live in the whole, like Polly Pocket's like 3 centimeters tall, and she can live in her van. That's Annie Potts here.
Well,
She's got horses in the back, you know.
You guys heard it here. Annie Potts, star of Polly Pocket.
Dude, I would pay good money for that. Make it happen, internet.
Live action Polly Pocket 2023.
We just pay Annie Potts to live in a van for a week. Turn it into a web series.
the modified vans during that time frame was a big thing. And like I remember growing
like
up.
it's not now.
Well, I would say it was different then. Now it's become more necessity. But then it was like people had their home and then they still trick their van out like that. So I had a strong appreciation. It reminded me of like my childhood, different people I knew that had vans like that and stuff.
Oh, there's a whole genre of movies about it too. Like it's like the big trucker thing back then. There's like at least 7 or 8 movies we've seen and many more.
Like I said, we've seen a lot of van movies. I was not being facetious.
Whether it's the Van Nuys, or it was a Van Nuys Boulevard, the Super Van.
Super Van and Super Van 2, right?
Yeah, I think there was a sequel too.
Despite being a respray of the A-Team van, I have to say, much like Annie Potts, every time the van came on the scene, I was double thumbs up. It's the best looking vehicle in this movie, hands down. And it fits her personality. It's beautiful. She's super cute. It all works. It's all her.
Indeed.
We had a camper van for a little bit when I was a kid. Again, my dad bought and sold and like swapped vehicles a lot. And we had like
boxes from eBay?
Sometimes.
No, it was more of a here, take it before the cops find out where I found it.
Oh, gotcha.
Sometimes like, oh no, that thing's got like a blown head. It won't ever drive. And he's like swaps a part out and drives it home and makes everybody mad. I don't know, but we did have like a 70s van, and the back seat folded out into a little bed, and it had a little sink that leaked all over the place.
A wet dog smell?
Totally smelled like a wet dog. Made farting noises when you tried to shift gears. I was like 6 when we had this thing.
Grind it till you find it.
Grind it till you find it. And we called it the Orange Crate.
Nice.
That was also my mom's daily driver for a while, because my dad took the Crown Victoria.
Oh, lucky. No. So anyway, we find out this young lady, she's going to Vegas, and she has aspirations of becoming a professional prostitute. And she's saying this like while she's driving this van and like drinking Olympia and like
oh yeah, she's popping in Olympia and
she's like, oh, you're kind of a cute guy. You probably know about girls like me, right? Go. I'm like,
you can be my first client.
Oh, my first customer.
How much do you think I'm worth?
I don't know.
Gee willikers, man.
$15?
15? What do I look like? Do I look like a whore to you?
I'm at $50.
You meant 50. You meant 50.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll take 50.
I ain't got no $50.
Get the fuck out of my van.
I'm a high school
kid.
Get
the fuck out of my van.
But you never told me your name.
Check the side of the van.
Vanessa. Roll credits. Guys, what do we think of this movie? I stopped watching it.
So you had to go take a cold shower.
I gotta take a cold shower right now.
Credits roll. That's it. Cool. I'm not gonna lie. I chuckled when they shut that door and it said Vanessa. I heard my wife like guffaw, and I'm just like, wow, we are in for a ride. And then I realized we're 35 minutes into the film.
Yeah. I checked the time too. It was like, holy shit, we're not even a third of the way through this movie.
We're just
this is gonna be
getting started.
Yeah, so he like goes into the Hilton and is like asking bartenders and shit.
Oh, but wait, you forgot one of the best lines that Annie Potts gives. I'm gonna have Izzy say it for us.
Oh,
which one is that?
I'm a hooker, for Christ's sake.
It was better when you did it.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a master impersonator needs to step in from time to time. You know?
There is another one that goes along with that one, and it's my favorite. And she turns to him as he's like asking her about why are you going to prostitute, blah, blah. And she goes, I'm a trainee. Time comes when every amateur goes pro. And I'm like, whoa, what just happened?
Look, she's a woman who knows what she wants. She's going to get it.
Look, back in my hometown, I've seen miles of Pekka. I'm ready to step my game up.
I know, that's how I felt after art school. Like, I've just seen so much dick. I should become a prostitute.
Show us the origin story. All right. So then, he's like asking around, and oh, that's right. He gets like robbed by the guy that walks up, like, hey, you look like a winner. You look like a winner. Hey, why don't you buy this necklace here? Some of these diamonds are even real.
No thanks. I'm good.
All right, cool. Well, have a nice day, sir.
I gotta find a car. Have you seen this car?
No. Oh wait, maybe it's over at Circus or something.
Oh my god, the Circus! I need a car.
And then we find out it's a fucking Datsun.
Right?
Steve pointed out
Datsun.
Circus is the only hotel still on the strip.
Yeah. Oh, all the old Vegas shots here from like 78. I'm like, well, Circus is the only one still around. It's still around, right?
Yeah,
It
I mean,
is.
they hose it out at
Was
least
the last
twice
time I
a
was
year.
there.
I've actually stayed there, and I tell you what, that sign, the Circus sign, is super annoying. Nobody sleeps in that casino. It is impossible.
yeah.
You're not supposed to
Well,
sleep
that's
in a
why the rooms
casino.
are like $14 during midweek. That's for the whole day. Imagine per hour. No. So
I was gonna say,
50
Steve, was it
cents.
Circus where we went in the bathroom and it had been freshly painted except for the ceiling with the blood splatter?
oh no.
no, that was a
that was
silver
on,
dollar.
yeah, it was on Fremont Street somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, we went and we're like, wow, they just painted this room. I can still smell the paint. Pan up.
Pan up like
Oh my, honey.
arterial blood splatter up
Honey,
on the ceiling of this place. Yeah.
Is that what I think it is? He comes in, he looks and goes, well, it's not toothpaste.
Oh.
Fucking shit, babe.
I'm hilarious.
When he walks in, at the point when he walks into the casino and walks up to the Datsun, I thought his response was hilarious.
I agree.
He
with
walks
you.
up like all because like from a distance he thinks it's his car because it's got a similar look to it and everything. He gets there, he's like, "It's a Datsun."
Well, I like how like all the hookers are like, right?
Right. Can't even get an American car.
Like, honey,
Like
we've
a
all felt
Cadillac
that
or
way about a Datsun.
So is that before or after they have their first? That's after they have their first fight. They're separated at this point for a little bit.
Yeah. They're
She
separated,
drives
yeah.
off and he runs into the hotel.
So before that happens, though, I have to comment. Remember, we were going to comment on her wardrobe and style changes
Oh.
throughout the film. This is the first time she gets dressed up, right? So I didn't have a problem with the sequin dress and anything, but she's attractive, curly haired, the whole 9 years. Why did she put on a fro?
Yeah, it's like a
The
Donna
Napoleon
Summers
Dynamite
fucking
fro.
Right?
Blondes have more fun.
Well, and for me, what really threw me off was like the pounds of like glitter eye
Yes.
makeup and shit. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to see myself in your eyelids. Get the fuck out of here.
I would like to let everyone in the audience know that Steve hates glitter
oh,
with a passion. Steve works in the hotel industry.
oh, Jesus
Steve will
Christ.
never ever switch a hotel room because he knows how hard everybody works. But we walked into one hotel room, and obviously on the little chair, somebody had their prom dress, and you could see the glitter. He immediately was like, "Nope, we're not staying
Nope,
here." And
don't-
I'm like looking again.
Don't
for
touch
the-
a fucking thing.
the
We're
blood-
changing rooms.
I'm looking for the blood spatter on the ceiling again. No, it was the glitter. Blood spatter on the ceiling in the bathroom, perfectly fine. Glitter on the chair, deal breaker. We're going to a different hotel, bitch.
I mean, I can't take credit for this, but I have heard it referred to as the herpes of the crafting world. So
Absolutely.
right there.
Oh, you know what? We're gonna have to update it to it's the COVID of the crafting world.
Just what you thought you got it taken care of, it comes back.
Look.
Oh no, it's the new variant of glitter. Ah, it's on me.
Look,
It's unicorn or unicron, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
look, if I've got glitter and you come and visit me, you have glitter too.
I love it. I love it.
We all have glitter. If you touch your cat now has glitter.
It's like a Oprah episode. You get some glitter. You get some glitter.
No, this is the worst show ever. Ah, it's on me. Oh god.
So her sparkly eyes, I could like feel Steve's asshole peckering.
Like, no longer want to give it.
Annie Potts can't get it anymore.
Maybe 15's too much now. Yeah, I don't know.
So she's sleeping in her van. Where's Mark Hamill hanging out since they're no longer buddy?
Okay, so he lost his money even just to get food. When he finds out he has his wallet stolen, Dick Miller comes out of left field and saved the fucking day.
Dick Miller.
And he's like, "I got this, buddy," or he like flips a coin or something for the guy, and it's like, "Yeah, it's my lucky $2 bill. I'll pass it on to you, buddy."
He pulls out like a 50 to the hot dog vendor and is like, "Heads or tails? You keep the 50 or the kid gets the hot dog." And the guy's like, "Yeah, I'll fucking take that bet." Oh, he loses, and Dick Miller's like, "I can't win for losing. Come on," or "I can't lose for winning," or something.
Okay.
He's on a winning streak, and Mark Hamill's like, "Are you driving back to LA?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm getting on a plane heading home. I'm about to lose all this."
Yeah, like 18 grand in 18 hours. I gotta get the fuck out of here. But here, you can have this lucky $2 bill of mine. But yeah, he's gotta go sleep in a U-Haul. So
Yeah.
So
Well, and the worst thing is he hands over the $2 bill. He says that's what he started out with. Who goes to Vegas with just $2? That's not a smart decision.
Look,
Hey,
it's
in the
70s.
70s, that could get you like, sweet with like breakfast the next morning.
I mean, at the Circus, absolutely. Probably later this week. I'm Googling it.
Yeah.
Oh, nope, it's inflation, $3.50.
Yeah. It's no longer $2 chuck. It's like $2.75 or whatever.
Babe, they've raised their prices to a whole $1 for eggs.
Oh, Jesus.
he used to be dollar bill, but now he's $2 bill. What's up? So it begged the question though with these U-Hauls, because I thought it was really comical, right? They're unlocked, he gets in it, it's just slowly, gracefully just tips forward. Like
Yeah.
like one of those Japanese like water dipping birds. You're like, all right,
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
And my wife and I looked at each other and go, are there people sleeping in the rest of them? Because they're all
Obviously.
nose down, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'm-
oh.
Come on. Like, you had to see somebody do it. We've
It,
already
it didn't
established
nose
that.
down. It went back. When he
Oh,
got
really?
in it, the weight went to the back.
They were all tilted the same direction once he went in there. So I was like,
No.
oh,
His went back
maybe I
in
missed
the scene. I mean, eventually it was down, but
I admire how closely you all were paying attention to this movie
Physics.
because I did see the
Yes,
U-Haul.
physics.
I did see him enter the U-Haul, and that's it.
They spent like 10 extra seconds showing the trailer tilt.
I think I looked away.
Probably.
She was already dozing off.
She was checking her email.
What's
So-
on Reddit?
You guys were talking about the size of the van with them inside, how it looks so much bigger. When they actually show him in the U-Haul writing the note to his teacher,
Okay.
that definitely wasn't inside that little 6x8 U-Haul.
What?
I think it was on a
Never.
soundstage or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the next one, he said there was a Datsun or whatever, and he's getting ready to go home. He's gonna hitchhike his way back to LA, and then this hot blonde chick pulls up in like a Cadillac or something, like to pick him up, and he's like about to hop in. I'm like, all right, this adventure is about to get a little interesting. But then along comes the Corvette. Hey, that's my car! And he like jumps out of that car immediately and goes running after it. And I'm just wondering, like, well, let's go back to the blonde chick. Well, like, what's her story? What's going on? Like, she just seemed like a nice girl. I don't know.
That was way more believable than him chasing a Corvette doing 60 on foot.
On foot, yeah.
Yeah, I'm amazed how well he kept up for it as long as he did, to where it's heading out on the outskirts into the desert.
I'm not.
especially
It was a
within-
70s Corvette. I'm not surprised he could keep up with it on foot.
The most unbelievable part is in the first 5 steps of him chasing it, he's hit by a car.
Right?
Like he's hit, rolls over the hood, and like keeps on running. I'm like, yeah, there's no way you're hobbling that fast.
No, that's parkour, man. He's just
Oh, it's James Bond logic. It makes him faster.
You lean into the fall.
I love how
shoot somebody
he's
in
in
the
a
head. It makes him stronger. Yeah.
I love how he's in a city he's never been before, and he's taking all these shortcuts and back roads. He's like, I know where I'm going to go. I know where he's going. I'm going this way, and I'm going to beat him.
I can cut here through the U-Haul. Yeah.
I thought I was watching that Sunny in Philadelphia episode where they're doing the badass videos. Like that's what it felt like to me. Like, what are we doing?
You know, the like where he gets hit by the car and keeps running. This was like the first scene where I really was like, these stunt guys are working hard.
Oh yeah.
They're not lighting a bunch of shit on fire. If you pay attention, these stunt guys are earning their paycheck.
And it probably
There's
wasn't
some
much
good
on the budget of
driving.
this film.
Yeah, there's some really good driving. There's some really good stunt work that like this movie almost doesn't deserve, but it does because this is why we love these kinds of movies. Guys that work way too hard.
It was still more budget than the original Gone in 60 Seconds, but I'm going to leave that where it is. We've talked about that before.
I will say there's one point later on in the movie where you can see the roll bar run up the A-pillar of the Camaro, but it's only for one scene where you can see it.
That's like the 6-point harness that he was wearing at the end, but I was going to save that till later. It's like, where the hell that come from? Where's all this safety gear suddenly? What's this all about?
Look, I was willing to look, we'll get to it, but I was willing to look past it because it's been in a chop shop for the last entire summer. Somebody could have put a 6-point harness in it at any point.
Because that's what they do at chop shops. They add parts to the car.
Yeah.
At this particular one, it appears that they do. They just repaint them and sell them as high-end vehicles. So
It's true. It's true.
Seems that way.
It's the shop truck.
They take this Corvette and make it completely sex-proof.
oh,
That's
shit.
the Earl Shriver chop shop where it just paints it.
Look.
They go.
I want a Corvette, but I want one where when women look at it, their vaginas become the Sahara Desert. Can you do that?
So you want a Corvette?
Specifically
it
a
just goes like full
C3 Corvette.
padlock, like cling, clack, clack.
Like, I want the prostitutes on the boulevard to say, not for me.
Move along, sweetie.
Where's that Volkswagen?
I'm sure you're a nice boy.
Go back to your mother. Yeah. So yeah, he's chasing after the Corvette. He like cuts through, I don't know, the neon sign lot.
Yeah, the neon sign museum. That's like 10 miles outside of town.
Oh my God. Do you know what I said when I saw this? I actually got really excited. I sat up and I went, Mike Wolf from American Pickers would be flipping out right now, seeing all these signs.
He'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to come. Take all my money.
So that's a museum. If you guys ever get a chance to go to Las Vegas, that's the Neon Sign Museum.
Oh, I didn't realize.
It is 8 miles outside of town.
Well, by then I think it was just where signs were. Like
No. Oh no. It's been all right.
Or something.
It was a neon sign junkyard.
It's
exactly.
All right. It's been like a museum where it's like, an empty lot where a guy like would take in all these signs and give them a good home. The way the Rabbit Museum in Los Angeles is a museum and definitely not just a gal who hoards rabbit stuff in her garage and charges people $2 a person to walk through it.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh shit, people actually miss old Vegas. We're gonna give you museum status.
Yeah. It's kind of like that junkyard at the beginning of the movie. They went through and like, hey, we can turn this into an automobile museum with just a little paint.
If you had frozen that junkyard in time and reopened it today, car folks, how much would you guys pay to walk through that junkyard with those cars?
$0.
I don't pay anything to walk through a junkyard now.
Many
you pick the yards.
one with all those cars.
We get to go to Chaz's car museum for free, right, Eric?
Or Daniel's backyard.
Or Daniel's car museum / mountain / nature preserve.
That's why you own a mountain.
So Izzy, I think that was what you would call was that a super fun fact? But in our side, what would it be, Tanya?
Hot garbage.
I prefer fun facts. Super fun facts because they're fun facts. And I know he'll never listen to this, but it's definitely not an interesting tidbit, Brandon.
Here's an interesting tidbit.
Take that, Brandon. No.
Take that, you Canadian.
So, wow.
In Canada.
All right, so that night he's back in his U-Haul writing letters to home, and I'm like, oh, remember them days? Nope. So then,
not just letters to home.
Stamp.
He was writing love letters to his shop teacher.
Shop teacher, yeah.
Right?
They weren't love letters; they were longing letters.
They were postcards.
For someone who had no money, how did he afford the postcards and the postage?
Yeah,
For somebody who was not paying attention, how did Tanya know it was a postcard?
Yeah, right. Guys, all you need is like a 4x6 piece of paper and a probably 3-cent stamp back then. Like, it's affordable.
Oh, yeah, like a penny maybe.
He had that $2 bill.
It goes a
He
long
still
way.
has it.
But he
was
never
opening
broke it.
Yeah, true.
And he probably found enough change on the road, like running around those back alleys, chasing his car to be able to pay for a stamp.
He was selling gazes at the $2 bill for 2 bits of Ganda. And so anyway, that van pulls up. Vanessa. And she comes out, and he's wrapped up in like a fucking packing blanket.
Yeah,
or something.
it's one of the moving blankets. Yeah, and she is beat to shit.
Yeah, this is where I was like, oh no, this movie's about to take a dark turn down the seedy underbelly of Vegas. He's gonna have to rough up some pimps and stuff. It's gonna be great. They're gonna have shoes with like fish in the heels. No, basically he's just like, oh, here, you can use the men's room and get cleaned up in there.
Because the women's room was locked down. Like, she just looks at him and was like, I like your shawl.
And then she is like, well, if you're sleeping at U-Haul, you can just sleep in the van with me.
He's not going to do it until she's like, there's food in the fridge.
Oh, yeah, in the fridge. And I'm like, sold, take me. And there's like the fridge. What else? Oh, yeah, and it's a water bed. And she's just like, well, let's why don't you take them clothes off? Let me see what you got. He's like, well, you mean, I don't know, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm just going to sleep on the floor. I'm a good boy.
Super awkward. It was so awkward.
By the way, this is where I was like, ooh, is this movie going to get weirdly progressive and have him be gay?
You know, a lot of thoughts crossed my mind.
Yeah, that thought crossed my mind. Also, is like, wait, did he graduate high school, or was he like coming back in the summer?
This is a question that did not get answered till the end of the movie.
Yeah.
What grade is he in? Is he a junior? Is he a senior?
Yeah.
I mean, for fuck's sake, as far as we know, he's a freshman.
Yeah, because she mentioned she graduated like a year before or something.
Yeah, and Steve and I were talking about it. It was like, well, I was 17 when I graduated because of like where my birthday falls. Like I turned 18 like 2 days later, but like I was like the youngest in my class, and it's like he could be like the oldest in his class.
He definitely looked it.
I thought they discussed that when they were in the van when she first picked him up. He said that he's a senior. I thought
he said just graduated, but also is his conversation with the shop teacher when he has the drink with the shop teacher. The shop teacher, if I recall correctly, talks about putting a good word in for him to do some work with automotive stuff since he's graduated.
I think we're supposed to make some
it.
assumptions. He's at senior prom.
But there's also junior prom.
Yeah,
not
junior
every school
prom and
has
senior
junior
cotillion.
prom.
I mean,
He could have been invited to the prom as a freshman. I don't know. Plus, he didn't go to it. He just showed up in his dirty clothes.
Yeah, he just showed up to
his
have
dirty
sex
clothes
with a
from
car.
the whole movie.
Like,
I'm sorry, he didn't go. He just showed up. That doesn't make sense.
yeah, no, he wasn't there for the party.
He
He was
didn't
there
go
to
there
fuck
for the
car.
party.
He went stag, baby.
He went for a different party in the shop class.
His date was waiting for him, just not in the gym.
Lady in red.
Ladies, if you want this kind of gentleman, you just have to wear pure gasoline as a fragrance.
Little red Corvette.
Baby, you're much too fast. So yeah, speaking of going too fast, Annie Potts is putting it down, and I mean, I'd have kept her warm. I don't know.
She was open for business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then she's like starting to realize like how awkward he's like, wait a minute. Oh my God, it's a real honor. I'm going to be your first. He's like, what? No, I'm just going to jerk off here in the corner and go to bed.
I actually already came, so I got to go.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for like sitting there and she's like rubbing his shoulders or something. All of a sudden it's like lotion shot. I'm like, what was that? Nothing. Look over there. And he like runs out.
No, it would have been like behind the green door, like bow, 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 bow. You had the slow motion 70s cinematography.
Fucking $6 million man.
It definitely wouldn't have been blood splatter on the ceiling in the van.
Yeah.
Not that one.
She's like, no, not on the floor.
That'll never come out.
So
I just had that recovered.
So a couple things I appreciate. Like this is a good point, a good awkward point. She keeps that van super clean the whole movie. She's very good at that. And I kind of appreciate how he always looks sweaty and greasy, like he hasn't showered and he's been like running around and driving a car the whole movie. They're very consistent on that. And movies often will keep our lead who's in this kind of situations like too clean. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that he looked like he'd been driving for 300 miles in a 1970s car.
I think that was just normal Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
I think that's his normal state.
Yeah, but they didn't clean him up and make him look like Brad Pitt. You know, they're like, oh yeah, he's sweaty. That's why he looks that way. Don't worry about it.
I mean, he looks sweaty in Star Wars all the time too. It's just like, all right, whatever.
He's glistening.
Well, he's on a desert planet most of the time, or a swamp planet, or a forest planet,
or an ice planet.
Yeah, or an ice planet. That's the only time he didn't look sweaty. He still looked kind of sweaty in that cave, though.
Because he got mauled by a creature.
I would be too. It's a fucking ice bear. Horns and shit.
When did Annie Potts become Luke Skywalker?
I'm fucking dying.
They're the same person.
So you remember at the beginning I said you have to suspend disbelief in this movie, which I don't feel like you really have to, but I'm still puzzled in how she got so clean just using the men's room. So Izzy or Tanya, can you explain to me how one might shower in a U-Haul men's room?
All right, please tell him about a horse bath. Go.
Tanya, would you like to go first, or shall I do the honors?
Please.
Now you'll see she brought her own towels,
Yep.
and there's a basin of water in every room, usually two, in every bathroom, in which you can retrieve fresh water to wipe yourself down.
She had like a shower caddy bucket with her too, I thought.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she had everything. Like she had like a box of wet wipes, I swear.
All
See,
right.
I thought at one angle they showed like a shower in that men's room, but the weird thing is I can't imagine that small of a building actually having a full like bathroom, like a truck stop type bathroom that had a shower in it.
I'm amazed it had a sink.
It was
Wait.
not a Buc-ee's.
Have
for
you
sure.
guys like never been in the like weird mechanics bathroom that's like a shower head just hanging out of the wall, a toilet and a sink, and there's nothing else?
And a
Yeah,
drain
then-
in the middle of the floor, right?
Yeah, and the drain in the middle
yeah.
of the floor. Yeah, it's like the half bath.
Yeah, drain in the middle of the floor in case you don't even want to use the toilet or the
Ex-
sink or the shower.
No,
It's to clean up the
Thank
blood
God.
splatter.
shower.
I thought it was like, oh yeah, you can use the toilet. I'll just be over
honey,
here.
we gotta discuss
no?
road trip rules.
Oh shit! All right, well, my bad. my apologies to that shady ass U-Haul place in the outskirts of Vegas.
By the way, you're too tall for a bottom drain. You know you're a sink man.
I can hit from across the room.
One thing I have to say, 'cause
Ooh.
that's around the time when they first let it be known about the waterbed in the van. And I just have to say, if it wasn't an actual waterbed in there, whatever they did for the suspension in that van was great because it wasn't sagging at all. And a waterbed in there, that thing would have been dragging the bumper.
That van is primo.
Yes.
I
Do they
almost
have the Gabriel shocks and the mag wheels?
Oh yeah.
A little 4-inch lift. Yeah, it's ready to go.
Mhm.
so I almost want Vanessa more than I want the 18 van, and I want the 18 van something fierce. So this is high caliber stuff right here.
Well, the 18 van comes with its own music too.
You know what sells me? You know what sells me though in the 18 van is the spoiler. See, if Vanessa didn't have a spoiler,
Oh.
but if she had the 1980s boomerang TV antenna on the back, boom, that is
Look,
killer.
So you're one of those speed over class guys. I get it.
Look,
Yeah.
Vanessa's still in the 70s. She still has time to age into her antenna.
That's true. That's very true.
Also, have you seen Supervan?
I have not, but now that you've mentioned it for the 10th time, I have to drink again, and I will promise you I will watch it.
Drink every
Wait, is
time
that
Steve and Izzy bring up an obscure movie. You will
Oh,
die.
gee.
You will
Oh,
die.
no.
And you said there were two of this movie, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think the second one's just called like Supervan 2. Let me check the Google.
There.
Oh,
Well,
Lord.
we're also
Because the
doing that.
original one's from 77, according to this.
Yeah, that's the one. Oh, we also find out around this time Vanessa's real name is Eleanor, and I've written down "Gone in 60 Seconds, you hacks." Wait, no.
I agree.
But then Skywalker, Kenny, he sees the Corvette again, and he's like, "Oh my god, that's the car!" And he goes chasing after it, and she like pulls up alongside, and he's like, "Can you use a lift?" And he like jumps in the side of a moving van going 15, 20 miles an hour, like full sprint. And I'm like, okay, well that's a pretty cool little stunt. I'm not gonna lie, And they go driving off with the van door wide open, and she stops at a red light because it's a red light, and there's like 4 cops waiting right there. He's like, no, you gotta chase that car. We gotta go get it. She's like, I'm not gonna fucking chase it. There's a cop right there. Cop. So,
Well, the big thing you were talking earlier about, like the stunt people, in that scene where it shows the individual jumping in, you can see the door kicks, like it catches him right in the middle of his spine as he's jumping.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
body checked. He body checked the other side of the van too. I was like, "Ooh, that hurt."
I hope that wasn't what happened to Mark Hamill, and they just said it was a car accident. He dives face first. Oh, yeah, no, Mark.
So the 4 county mounties or Dudley Do-Rights that are standing on the corner, right? I mean, like these guys are clowns. So I was like,
Yeah, I
They're
know.
flirting with that
NHP
chick that they're
should-
talking to.
I was say NHP loves out-of-state plates. They should be all over this shit.
okay, so I got to ask: was there a significance to the license plate, or is she just like Rain Man? I'm like, I don't understand.
So it shows that she's paying attention to something he's interested in. Aw. But also, yeah, she remembers it. So she's smarter than we're like led on to believe. She's not just a ditzy dumb girl.
She's a high school graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they run the plates and it's got fake plates.
Oh my
So-
God.
I
What
mean,
evil mastermind organization is this?
So
We'll
it's a
never find it
professional
now.
job.
And the police could give a rat's ass.
Yeah, they're like, yeah. Yeah, we got a whole team working on it. We're working in shifts.
Having had my car stolen several times, same car, this is how the police they're like, yeah, you're fucked. Good for you.
So was this her second wardrobe change at this point where she changed her style again, or does that happen after this?
I think it's just after this when she's making those wonderful Sunny D screwdrivers.
Yeah.
And man, that took me back. I'm not gonna lie.
We've all been there.
What was her occupation at this point in the movie?
Beautician, I think, at this
Yeah,
point.
Yes, she was a beautician.
Okay, so she changed her hair again, right? So she had
that's right. And
the
she has the
frosted
little
highlights.
beautician's coat on.
correct. And then she's got, I couldn't tell, were they gray or were they green highlights in her
She
hair?
said frosted tips, but yeah, they're like gray, right?
They were like that grayish purple that's trending now.
Yeah.
So it was like sort of hot foreshadowing. I'm like, oh, now I get to see what you look like old. This is kind of
Yeah.
cool.
That's what she
But-
looks like in Young Sheldon nowadays. Yeah.
Exactly. I thought it looked good. She looked really put together. I think that's the best she looked in the movie outside of like her natural scenes. But in terms of outfit, I was like, girl, you got it going on. I'm digging all this, the big curls and the frosted tips and everything.
We're rooting for
Yeah.
her to be a beautician.
I'll take the shampoo and rinse. Thank you.
And that lasted all of one scene.
Yeah, so she's doing the Sunny D screwdrivers, and
Yeah,
Mark
wait,
Hamill's just like
explain the Sunny D screwdrivers.
vodka, Sunny D, taking one shot of each, and
Yes,
I don't know,
she's
mix
not
them in your
mixing it in
mouth and
one cup.
swallowing. Yeah.
She's taking a hit off each bottle while laying in bed.
What Mark Hamill's like, oh my god, I'm never gonna see that car again. I might as well just kill myself. And she's like, what? Shut up about the car. Come have some screwdrivers with me.
You sound like you could use a little lubing up.
Yeah.
I love how her justification for doing that is she had to build up her tolerance for it so she didn't pass out on a John.
It's impression
Yeah.
time. It's impression time, folks. One of the ultimate quotes from this movie. You know when a girl can't hold her liquor with her trick, where does she end up? Asleep with her trick. It's like, what?
Asleep on her trick.
Hey, she's thinking it through.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
She knows the concept. You don't pay the hooker to stay, you pay the hooker to leave.
Oh my
Look,
goodness.
modern problems require modern solutions.
Mailman Dan knows what I'm talking about. Look at him. He's laughing right along.
Pay her to leave. I love it.
So anyway, then so yeah, Mark's having a downtime, whatever.
Mhm. And then she decides she should also have a downtime.
Yeah, she starts disrobing out of focus behind him, and I'm like, I know where my focus is, cameraman. You need to adjust accordingly.
What is this? The cameraman from?
I will say there was some nice silhouette. That's all I'll say.
It's true.
Mm.
Yeah, we get a little out of focus nudity, and then Mark Hamill says, "Oh, what the hell?" and like Ravage kisses her like assaultingly, like tackling her on the bed.
What the hell was that?
Oh God, it was like Urkel in a watermelon or something. Like I don't even know how to describe how awkward that whole scene was. It was just like, oh.
Well, take into account prior to this.
Kiss?
Right?
Prior to this, I think the only woman he'd ever kissed was his mother, so that's the only experience he had.
Oh God.
Yeah.
stop.
Kiss me like your mother.
Yeah, stop it. If you ever want kissed again, stop saying that shit.
Kiss me like Mark Hamill kisses his mother.
Ah. Is that right, mommy? Yeah, that's all right. So then, she's like, "Yeah, let's screw," and he's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Oh, she shows him like the $2 bill that she gave him as his first customer, and
Yeah.
it's like framed on the wall in the van. She's like, "You haven't even noticed it."
You haven't noticed my new decor.
So they kiss again, and then go straight to Pound Town,
Boom.
and then we cut to I'm assuming 45 seconds later.
Mm.
And he's like,
Oh my god. I've been working on transmissions and I rebuilt a whole, I don't even know, carburetor at like age 6, insert car term here. And I waited this long to get laid.
And then he pops out the top of the van and is like, "Love is a many splendid thing."
I'm just amazed by the fact that it had a sunroof all the way at the back above where the waterbed.
Right?
Vanessa is awesome. That's all I'm going to say.
Vanessa
These are
is-
features. These are not drawbacks. You're not
She's
gonna
the real
dissuade
star
me.
of the movie.
Vanessa is the hottest one in the movie. And that's
Oh,
saying something because
absolutely.
Annie Potts is in her prime.
And Mark Hamill's mom. Anyway. Anyway. Speaking of which, this is when the teacher goes to see the mom and be like,
Yeah,
hey,
meanwhile, back in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Meanwhile, at the trailer park, hey, have you seen your son or heard from him in the past couple of months? Like, oh no, he'll find his way back, but I'm packing up because I'm moving to Del Mar. And even the teacher's like, you're moving to Del Mar and you don't know where your son is? I know he's in Vegas.
Look, he'll figure it out. He's got a great life going. I met this boyfriend. Del Mar's gonna be great. We're gonna be like an hour outside the city, right on the coast. They're not allowed to build anything over 2 stories tall there. We'll never lose our view.
Awesome. Okay, then we get some more Mark Kenny or whatever writing letters back home or whatever.
Dear shop teacher.
Yeah, dear shop teacher.
I never thought it would happen to me.
Yeah, right. But here's a line that had me a little confused. Don't worry, I still like cars. I'm going steady with this girl and she's great. Don't worry, I still like cars. And I'm like,
that's how
what?
into cars he is, babe.
I mean, I empathize. I get it. I totally understand. I think all the car people are now church nodding. We're like, yep.
Yeah, like, yep.
Here,
Even after knowing the loving touch of a woman, I still enjoy cars. Not as much. Don't get me wrong. But
Steve, let me put this in Steve terms for you. Did you still like basketball after the first time you got laid?
Oh yeah.
But did you like being laid or did you like basketball?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's any consolation, my wife says all the time, you don't have to worry because his mistress lives in the garage. So I'm like, hey, there you go. Right?
Hey.
Well, the Corvette gets repainted during this whole drama.
Oh, that's right. Oh no, the Corvette has an outfit change.
Is this when he starts working at the car wash?
Yeah.
I think he's still
Or the gas
valet
station
or
where he tries to
something,
screw
or-
over that woman.
Oh,
that
that's
was
right.
weird.
Well,
too.
that was before he hopped in the van when he was working at the gas station where he was sleeping in the U-Haul behind it. And he was painting the dead batteries with fresh paint.
Oh,
yes, that's right. He the guy who owns the U-Haul rental / gas station place hires him because he likes the cut of his jib. Oh, that's right. Because so Annie Potts kicks him out of the van the next morning, right? Oh no,
That's when he pays her the $2 the night.
That was like the first time he got
is it?
kicked
Yeah,
out.
is this when he's wearing like the suit and picks up the
not
other
yet.
Stingray?
Yeah, he's like a valet or whatever. And the guy's like, hey, that's my car. Get out. It's like, oh yeah, here you go, sir. You know,
With
that kind of thing.
the other beautiful blonde.
Yeah, and then oh, that's right. He goes back to the van and there's like the note that's like working late, blah blah blah, and he's like, "What?" And
I
he,
bet
like,
you're working late.
and
We're
he
gonna
goes to the
cruise the boulevard.
and he goes to the escort service, and they're like, "Yeah, I never heard of her." And then he goes to get some, I don't know, burgers to fill that void in his soul.
Mhm.
And like, Kenny, is that you? What?
Is that my van?
I told you I was working late.
I told you I was going to be right back. How am I supposed to find the goddamn van if you're driving it all over town? Is the conversation that should have happened.
But instead, she's like, no, see, every car in town comes through this place, so I'm helping you look for the car. See?
Everybody wants a smiley burger.
I think it was great when he was trying to find her before he found her at the burger place. And he goes into the cat house and he walks up and like yanks the one woman around thinking it was her.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, oh, wait, it's not you.
You got some nerve. And I'm like, that's the wrong wig, homie. Yeah. And then I think after that's when, he's like working at the car wash or whatever.
Working at the car wash, yeah.
When Wet comes through, but a gold version of his car? Wait a minute.
Dun, dun,
Was my
dun.
car gold?
And then we find out it's driven by Brian James, legendary, I don't know, that guy from action movies in the 80s. You might know him best as the guy with the funny accent in Tango and Cash
Yeah.
that ends up with a grenade in his pants. Spoiler alert.
See, you went that way with that scene, and when that car came out, I went, "Oh man!" When you thought that car couldn't get uglier, that's what I honed
That
in
is
on.
an ugly gold, yeah.
70s gold.
It was
was
not
terrible.
a appealing looking car to begin with in the red, but when they did it gold, it was like, I didn't think you could make it any uglier. I mean, it was, yeah.
It was almost mustard.
Look, only the Rockford car looks good in 70s gold.
That's true.
I give you that.
Speaking of Rockford, we got another chase where Brian James is driving off in the Stingray, and Mark Hamill's chasing him on a bike, and I'm like, "Good luck, sucker!"
Oh, he gets hit by a bicyclist and then steals the bicyclist.
He jumps
out
on a bicyclist to jack him.
He got bike jacked.
Sounds like an old school 10-speed Huffy.
It was a Schwinn, but I gotta ask this. See, this is my attention to detail. Why did we hyper focus on that water bottle attached to the bike handles for like 30 seconds? I'm like, what are we looking at?
It was like a slow pan up, and then it like shows his sweaty ass face, and I'm like, "There's a water bottle right there." I was expecting to like take a swig, like, "Oh, it's vodka," or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, Steve like straight up was like, yeah, we know he's got a water bottle, otherwise he'd die in Vegas."
Again, I assumed we were going for the badass videos from Sunny in Philadelphia, but we ended up with basically the Goonies scene where he's hanging onto the cars going down the highway. I'm like, what the hell?
I was waiting for like the Back to the Future music to start playing. Gotta go back in time.
The thing about this scene that baffled me is how when he catches up to the car, reaches and grabs the guy's shoulder, and he goes to like close his hand in the window, so he reaches down to open it, and the door swings open. How the door did not make contact with the parked vehicle as they went by it just baffles me.
Yeah.
Right?
That baffled you? Dude, he was doing 60 miles an hour when he let go of that bus and caught the Corvette. I mean, how the hell did he slow down enough to grab the car without killing himself? It was nuts.
Guys, that's the magic of filmmaking.
That's you know what? Again, this is some like really good stunt work that's going to go completely unappreciated by the masses.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Stingray peels off because obviously that guy ain't stopping shit. Then he pulls into the garage or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, this slimy, this oily teenage kid tried to jack me. He was on a
He's
bike.
all dressed in yellow, and it's some weird shit."
Yeah. And then in comes the guy, on the back of like a
It's a car carrier,
car hauler. Yeah, car carrier. And he just comes in full speed. Yeah, goes right past them and like crashes into a bunch of tires.
That was beautiful. My wife goes, "What? The bike doesn't have brakes?"
Yeah,
he burned him up, stopped before the parked car.
Yeah,
right. Most realistic part of the movie.
It was beautiful.
So they rough him up and lock him in a closet or something, a little storage closet. I guess like that night or whatever, there's like one guy watching. He's like trying to open the padlock door. He's like, yeah, so we're getting out of there. Oh shit. And he like goes to check it, and the windows cracks, like, oh shit, he went out the window. Goes out chasing him, and then out comes Kenny out of a full oil drum just covered in oil. And I'm like, well, he's dead, right?
Nope.
Do you remember that black tar monster in Star Trek The Next Generation?
Yeah.
That's where my mind went when he emerged.
The one that killed Tasha Yar?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then even when it's like dripped off a bit, it's like, oh, now he's Tarman from Return of the Living Dead or whatever.
But the scene after that's even better. Like,
so he like crawls out of the drum or whatever. And the guy who was like goes out the other side of the window, and he realizes, oh shit, there's no way he got out of there. That's like a 3-story drop. And so then he sees the oily like footprints leading down the street or whatever. So he like grabs the nearest chain and goes following the footsteps, because either he's walking to a trap or this is the stupidest thing in the history of crime. And
it can be both.
And basically like chases him down, beats his ass a couple of times on the side of the street. And while Kenny's like in the fetal position, luckily, who would pull up to save the day? Dick Miller. No, the other guy, the lowrider guy that he saw that was going 15 miles an hour earlier in the movie.
Well, they just made it to Vegas.
They just made it like 3 weeks later. Woo! He's already had 4 jobs in the time it took him to get there.
I'm just amazed the fact that he could recognize him covered in the oil. Oh, there's some kid that I ran into a week ago that he saw covered in oil. Yeah, I know him.
Honestly, I think they just pulled up and like, oh, that guy's beating the shit out of that guy. And then the one guy runs off, and then he like turns over like, oh, hey, I know this cracker. You know?
And subsequently, the scene after that, I thought was glorious, right? He's still in the fetal position.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the scene is amazing.
And Annie Potts is sitting there with a pressure washer just I didn't even know what to think. I was just like, this is awesome. This is so great.
Yeah, she's like spraying him down, like, I can't believe you did that. Why would you be so stupid? Blah, blah. Oh, sorry, hold on. It switched to wax. Okay, now we're back to what I am. I'm spraying you down.
And I'll say this, she's actually spraying. She actually went across his face and stuff. And I can firsthand say a pressure washer does not feel good to bare skin.
Wait a minute. You have firsthand accounts of being pressure washed?
Yeah, he was the one spraying the person in the face. Wait, is that second? I don't know.
That's what Daniel has to do when they run out of water on the mountain. They go down to the local car wash.
Gotta make do with what you got.
Yeah.
Oh, after he gets all cleaned up.
Yeb's got to go to the police department to be like, hey, I know where my car was at least, several hours ago. And oh yeah, by the way, kidnapping and all that stuff. Yeah, don't worry about that assault and stuff I did too. They were doing the assaulting. But then he runs into his teacher who's apparently in town now. And I'm like, oh boy, I know where this is going. Teacher takes him for a drive and he's like, oh yeah, I can take you to the shop. He's like, oh yeah, I know the shop. I know the guy who runs it too. He was an old student of mine. And I'm like, here we go. And this is where Izzy pointed out something incredible about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Solo, a Star Wars film or whatever, it's basically the same plot of this movie.
It's a future version of this movie.
Right?
Wow, my brain is officially melted.
Like you replace Annie Potts with, Khaleesi, whatever she was playing in that thing. You're like, oh yeah, she didn't become a hooker. She just became the comfort girl of the local drug lord. Wait a minute.
And the bad guy that we discover, the guy running this chop shop auto body, whatever we want to call it, kind of looks like Darth Maul anyway. He's got a scary look to him,
Yeah,
He's
just, pre-legs.
chasing after a vehicle that's not his.
So what I thought was interesting about that scene with Mr. McGrath, played by, Mr. Roche, as we talked about earlier, he's driving around Vegas, and I've been to Vegas a bunch. I was just there recently, as a matter of fact, and I pinpointed the Mandalay Bay in the background when they finally park and they get out of the square body Chevy that they were driving around in. I'm sure Dan was super excited about. They can tell us all about, the specific model and customizations and whatnot. But I spotted the Mandalay Bay, and I was like, wow, this is all super developed today. I mean, the Luxor wasn't there, and some of the other casinos that are there now. And then it suddenly dawned on me, and I turned to my wife and I said, when's Ken Jeong going to pop out? She goes, what are you talking about? I was like, big abandoned lot in Las Vegas. There's got to be a naked Asian man running by any minute now.
Spoiler, this movie's very honky heavy.
Yeah, so they're basically where the airport is now, but it's 10 miles from the strip or whatever. The teachers basically break it down like, yeah, I sold this car to this old student of mine.
Oh yeah, wait,
I only make 15 grand a year or something.
What's the name of the auto shop?
Oh, Silverado Auto Shop. And I'm like,
what was he driving?
He was driving a Chevy Silverado. I'm like, dude, you're in a Silverado. It's called he probably owns that chop shop. Run! You gonna die, Luke! Use the Force. But yeah, this is where he's like, I only make 15 grand a year. I can't get by on that. And this guy came up with a proposition.
I've made 15 grand a year before.
Oh, but wait, I'm going to turn to our executive co-producer for our fact checking on 1970s inflation. Would you care to share some super fun facts with the crowd? Time
3 million nowadays.
Interesting tidbits.
Am I supposed to do research?
It's in my notes. I figured you'd read it.
Oh no, sorry.
Eric did the research for you.
Much like the movie, I'm not paying attention to these details.
You have the notes printed out right there.
Yeah, I got the notes. Basically 15 grand back then comes to 62,400 in 2020, which is not very slouchy.
That's a lot more than a teacher actually makes these days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
teachers still make like $15,000 a year.
Message.
Then Kenny or Kent, right? Kenneth, whatever his name was, he ends up getting a job, right, by way of his shop teacher at the Silverado body shop, right? And they offer him a whopping
like $700 a week, and no, you got to pay me $850 a week, which basically nowadays is $180,000+ a year.
I'd like to make $850 a week now.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
Bonkers, right?
This leads into my favorite part of the movie because he goes from Kenny Dantley to full-on Tony Montana. He shows up with the big sunglasses, taking his prostitute, girlfriend out to go, get all the fancy things that she could never afford before, and he's just sitting there chilling.
This led to a completely new movie that lasted approximately 15 to 20 minutes before we came back to the movie we had been watching for an hour and a half.
Yeah, we went to Scarface. We started watching Scarface.
Right?
Real quick to go back, one thing that we missed is how he was walking trying to find, and he walks up on that second gen Camaro outside of the chop shop, and the guy's standing on the other side of it, and he's like, hey, I'm looking for this car. And the whole time, the Corvette is sitting right inside the open door, just out of sight.
Right?
Yeah, that
And
was
as he's
way
walking
earlier
away,
in the
they
movie.
pan to it,
but
you can see the car sitting there, and I'm like, you don't look back at all?
No.
I mean,
No?
what the hell?
I mean, if we're talking about things that we missed yet another Annie Potts wardrobe change somewhere in this whole mess with the teacher and the guy and discovering the Silverado body shop. Does anybody remember the little black dress?
Oh yes, her Bond girl outfit.
That wasn't until later, though. That was until he became full on jerk.
Yeah,
And
that
then
was
she
after
was
he
like,
went
Oh, well, perfect.
She was in the casino.
Well, then we lead up to it. And since we're talking about it, I've already brought it up now. I immediately went to BB Newirth. I was like, she looks like Lilith.
it looked like it was breakfast at Tiffany's all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Right?
Awesome. They both looked amazing. Actually, he looked really good in that outfit. Like those square glasses really worked for him. Like he was playing it up. That room, however, they ended up in.
Little honeymoon suite.
Oh, rotating bed, put in a quarter.
Yeah, a little clamshell
Yeah,
headboard and
look,
stuff.
they still
yeah.
haven't left the circus, okay?
Yeah.
He's still mad about the Dodge.
They just got an upgrade.
Yeah, right. So guys, here's where the scene goes completely fucking nuts. It's like, oh yeah, took you shopping all day, got this nice fancy suite, I got this job, we're gonna be set forever.
What about your car?
Yeah, I'm okay without my morals. Here, I'll even offer you $20. And I'm like, wait,
Oh,
no, Kenny.
And then he's like,
Here,
no,
here,
you're
take
worth more.
another
Here's
50. I'm like, oh, bury yourself. No, dude.
This one's on the house.
Full
Oh, cool.
Tony Montana.
Yeah.
They're both being weird in this scene because like he's being a straight up jerk, but this is a movie trope that like doesn't exist in real life, and it's like, oh man, I'm so mad at you about being crazy about chasing this one car. Move on. Oh my god, you've moved on because you got a job where you seem very happy and make more money than in a week than I'll ever see in my lifetime. You've changed.
Do you realize how many dicks I'll have to suck to get $8.50 a week?
I will never have to stop 2 at a time.
that's a different
Just
kind of
a moment.
screwdriver.
Yeah, right. Which one of you is Sonny D?
Can I just say, Annie Potts was amazing. She was amazing in this movie, but I don't feel that they, like her and Mark Hamill, had any chemistry
It was unbelievable.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was cringeworthy, uncomfortable to watch them try and act together. Like, if Annie Potts wasn't Annie Potts, it would have been much worse than it actually
So
was.
you guys wanted her to run off with the porn director?
Dude, how weird was that?
See,
It
you all
wasn't a
said
porn movie. It was a short.
you all
right.
said that the Bond outfit. I thought you were talking about the scuba gear. I thought that was the Bond outfit.
I thought it was Octopussy. That's what he thought it
Yeah,
was.
exactly. Yeah. So the next day, Kenny's at work and Vanessa gets pulled up, and he's like, "Hey, you stole this van! What the?
You're a car thief.
What the fuck are you talking about? Look, I got a good deal on it this morning. She sold Vanessa?
She sold the place where we live?
Right. I can't live at the honeymoon suite at Circus. I mean, that's like $12 a night.
That was a one-night thing. Does she not know that? We have to pass like a background check and get a rental. We have to put first and last month's payment down before we can get a place. She can't sell
Security
it.
deposits.
I know he did get that $850 in advance, so they can like buy a house now.
Oh, it's true. That's
Yeah.
true. And
Did anybody else think that the boss or the other student, what was his name, Matt Lowry or whatever, Matt
Something like
Lauer,
that,
whatever? To me, he looked like a cheaper version of Willem Dafoe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
can
saw
see
that
it.
too.
Also, guys, I thought they were going to kill Kenny. Like
Yeah,
the
I
whole
thought
like
when he
week
went
in
to the
advance, they're
desert.
like, yeah, sure, yeah. And then just one day at work, someone's going to like choke him with a chain from behind or
they just
something.
drop a
and-
car on him?
Yeah,
It's like
there was
The
a
everyone
Corvette.
else.
work accident.
When
or
they
whatever.
crush the Corvette, they drop it on
So,
him.
did anybody look up Kim Milford's IMDb profile, his headshot? So, the character in the show is Wayne Lowry. He's the guy that Brad was talking about. But did anybody look at his headshot?
No.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I mean, he's creepy looking.
Pull it up.
Pulling it up.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I remember. No, I had seen that. Yeah. I was like, what the F?
It actually, he almost looks better that way than he did in the movie. Oof.
But what movie was that?
I mean,
Oh, Kim.
Oh.
He's like in a zombie makeup or something with a blonde bowl haircut.
yeah, whatever role that was, he must take pride in if he's using
Oh
that.
man, he passed away at the age of 37. And
I'm gonna
he-
guess
Yeah.
it's from this Laser Blast movie based on the image. First.
Oh yeah.
See, these
Wow.
are more movies you get to add to your fun list of things to
I'm-
review.
I'm looking up Laser Blast now. Thank you for this rabbit hole. 2.7 on the IMDb.
So Sold. Wait, who's the director? Is it one of those David Decato movies or something? Sorry, guys. There's like some dinosaur-looking aliens.
Michael Ray.
Oh, coming next week. No.
If you like this, you might like Zat. Future
War. Oh boy.
So if you guys like these off-the-wall movies, it's kind of, I don't know how I stumbled across this one and sent it to Eric initially, but in my random running through the internet, I find weird shit. So
like
it was just by chance.
Movies?
It was weird because like this one, it was like someone had a DVD of it for sale. So I looked it up and I sent the link to Eric. I was like, hey, are you aware of this movie?
No, but thank you for bringing this into my life.
I'm surprised it was a DVD and not a VHS or beta.
Yeah, me too.
Laserdisc.
Laserdisc or die.
So this is
where are we back in the movie?
Where are we?
Kenny, Corvette Summer.
Yeah. The van got sold, so Kenny's like, I gotta go talk to Eleanor or whatever her name is, Annie Potts. And so he like runs to a casino and sees that she's working and she's in like her James Bond girl outfit, just like
Rosalind,
black dress, hair slick, looking good. And he like walks up to her like, oh, this is where you've been. She's like, excuse me, do I know you? Like the voice even changed a bit. And I'm like, oh, here we go. All right, I'm interested. Basically, they take a walk and she's like, I don't even remember the reason why they broke up. Just like, oh, you're not obsessed with this car anymore. You're not the same person. And
you've changed. And if you're allowed to get a career, then I'm allowed to get a career. It's a free country.
And then the guy that I guess is, I don't know, renting her or whatever, he's like, oh, hey, who's this guy? Like, oh, this is
my cousin Homer. Bye, Homer.
Well, hey, cousin Homer, you want to come to the party later? It's going to get really wild with your cousin here. And I'm like,
oh, and he's like, I'll make it worth your while.
Yeah, it was very like, oh boy, this is going to get weird.
Decent proposal, right?
And so, like you mentioned, like Annie Potts' name had changed again because she went by a couple different names throughout the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, at this point, she went from, because originally it went from prostitute to hooker to now, because at one point shortly before this, she was talking to Mark Hamill's character and was like, I'm not going to make it as a hooker here. I have to be an escort. So now she's made her way up to the tier of considering herself an escort before she winds out with this older gentleman at the casino.
Yeah, so many career paths.
And she said there aren't any hookers in Vegas.
There aren't any
They're
hookers
escorts.
in Vegas. They're all escorts. That's where I was going wrong.
I'm gonna change my name. I think I like the name Rosalind.
And didn't she say something about denim was the wrong way to go too?
Yeah, she did.
You ever pick up a girl in denim? Yeah, it's always going to be a problem. I need to get myself a little black number and one of those little ribbon chokers.
That's the reason they call it a wife beater.
And she goes and gets her little velvet number and gets her choker. She is a woman who gets things done.
That's right. She's too good for Mark Hamill. There, I said it.
Right?
So yeah, then Mark Hamill goes to work and he's working angry, just beating the shit out of a fender or something.
And then he's like welding two limos together.
I don't know. Yeah, he was fixing the
roadkill style.
It was a mess. I don't know what the hell he was doing. And I know Dan was going to critique all the welds at that point. I literally thought that to myself. Even I was like, I don't know what the hell he's doing, but he ain't welding.
No.
All I can say is he's not very strong because him beating on that fender and it wasn't hardly denting it with the size of the hammer he was using. Yeah, it's just utterly weak.
He's 4.5 feet tall. Give him some credit.
It was that 70s domestic steel.
That's true.
Yeah, he weighs 97 pounds. Come on.
He wasn't using the force. So yeah, that night, like the owner of the place is like, hey, come on, it's beer o'clock, let's go. And he's just working away like, all right, we'll just lock up when you're done. And like as soon as they leave, he looks at his the Stingray, which is still gold, and he has an idea. And then he paints it and it's red again. And holy shit, it's gonna be great. And I was thinking like, all right, cool. He opens the front of the garage, drives off, roll credits, guys. What do we nope. Instead, he waits till the next morning for Brian James and the other big henchman mechanic dude to open up, and then he tries to fight him, and they're like, oh, what are you doing? And
he hits one of them with a plastic fender.
Yeah.
And then like
it was a bumper cover, I think.
Yeah, and then he throws the tiniest wrenches. I'm like, come on, it's a mechanic shop. There's some big ass sledgehammers and wrenches.
Nope, here's my 10 millimeter.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
But then he grabs that paint gun.
Yeah.
Blast the guy in the face, and I'm like, well, fuck, he's dead.
Dude, I got cracked up.
That is 1970s candy apple red.
You could see
died.
The X's in his eyes popped
lacquer paint in the
amount of metal flake that wound up in his freaking like in his nostrils,
in the lungs,
in his eyeballs, his tear
Metal Flake is just paint glitter.
no,
he
he's
ain't
got
never getting it
herpes.
out.
He's got glitter all over himself now.
He's gonna sparkle like a vampire.
Ah!
It was an improvement for his face.
Good point. But yeah, so then he hops in the Stingray and drives off. And then he goes to the hotel where he knows Annie Potts is doing her thing, finds out where the room is. I forget how exactly, but
Well, because he got invited up earlier.
oh, that's right. He got like the room key or something. Then he like kicks it open and they're filming some sort of weird porno thing where she's in like one of those, the room hot tubs and she has flippers on
Whole
and like a
scuba
one-piece
gear.
bikini.
Who were the senior citizens recording this?
It was the sound
Why
guy
was
and it was the sound lady and the camera guy.
It makes me wonder, like, if the whole scenario was, I don't know if you guys have seen Rat Race, where he's like in a tub with Pepto-Bismol, you shave his back type stuff. That's what I portrayed when I saw that scene of her in the tub with the scuba gear on type stuff. I'm like, how did this come to be?
How much is that going to cost? It's going to be about $2,000. Who had $2,000? Yes, Mr. Tamagotchi had $2,000. The closest.
I'm eccentric.
You brought up Rat Race, and it's funny because I love that movie, and I love anything with John Cleese. There's one line I always remember from that movie, and it's Lovitz when he's yelling, "I don't want to work at the Home Depot." Like, I don't know, my mind immediately goes there anytime somebody brings up that movie.
Look, Lovitz is insane. Lovitz is also like brilliant on film. He's so good.
Have you seen him on Holy Moly? That's all I'm going to say.
I haven't, but we do own every season of The Critic.
Oh, nice.
Well, since there's only 2, it's not that hard.
The entire series.
All 26 episodes. Yeah.
Look, babe, what are we doing tomorrow? I'm just saying I want to watch the entirety of a franchise.
Hey,
She was strolling through Voodoo and it said bundle and save. She went, ooh.
Look, it was the Vine of its time, okay?
Yeah, so he grabs Annie Potts, throw him over his shoulder, or drags her out.
Literally drags her out kicking and screaming.
With her flippers on. And yeah, it's fantastic. And they hop in the car and drive off. But the owner of the chop shop or whatever, he's just getting into work, an hour later. He's management. Don't worry about it. And he sees the guys like on death's door or whatever. So he hops in his, was it a Camaro or something? And starts
It was a
chasing after
Firebird.
him? Or Firebird?
It was
a
awesome.
Firebird.
That's what it was. It was all black and it was awesome.
It looked like a Camaro with a GTO front end. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, okay. So it was like a weird little custom because I was trying to place it and couldn't quite do it. But
yeah, it was like a
so
Camaro back end.
Yeah, he catches up with them, I don't know, 100 miles outside of Vegas, on the freeway there. He pulls a gun out and starts firing at
through his own window.
I'm like, roll the window down, homie.
His window was rolled down in a car with no air conditioning in the desert. I'm like, what?
He was fueled by vengeance. Yeah, they chase around and like Kenny like pulls off the road, like goes into a quarry because he thought that was like, oh yeah, it's gonna hook up with the interstate, and then it's like a dead end. Like, oh fuck.
And then they end up on Route 666. Lou Diamond Phillips is waiting for him.
Oh, and the whole time Annie Potts is just like, oh, you trying to scam me so I'll get back with you. It's not gonna work.
You're just trying to impress me and it's not working.
I'm like, the guy literally has fired like 3 rounds at you.
Oh, and then she like jumps out the window and is like, bang, 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 big bad guy, I get it.
So what I liked about this scene, but then didn't like about the scene, was that it felt like a complete ripoff of Sally Field and Burt Reynolds in Smoking the Bandit. Like,
oh, absolutely.
So I was like, I'm okay with it. I'm good with it. But then what got me, because continuity is always an issue with any movie, when we were watching it, even my wife pointed out, she goes, wait a minute, the car is filthy. And then suddenly on those aerial shots, it's completely clean. Like they had gone back to the car wash in the previous scenes.
That was the left-hand drive car.
That's why more than that makes way more sense. And then it was suddenly dirty again, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, so eventually he like doubles back, and eventually is like, haha, here's the freeway. I do it all along. Basically, the freeway is like coming soon. I don't know, like it stops a mile later. Turns around, they start playing chicken with the bad guy, and I don't know, the bad guy pulls at the last minute and like rolls it, and they drive off into forever. But the bad guy then like crawls out of the car. He's like injured. And when he pulled out the gun and like looked down the barrel, I'm like, no, this is not how this movie is going to end. I thought
that would have been
eat
so
that
dark.
bullet. But instead, he like then takes the gun, points it at the car because it's like the horn's broken or whatever. So it's just making that pew, boom.
By the way,
fucking exploded.
horns run out of energy after like what 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
They
better
just
than
did, like,
No, cars back then, if there's a connection, it'll blow until the horn will keep blowing until the battery dies.
Okay, all that none of that is important. I got to ask Dan a very important question because he'll know the answer to this. Dan, how many cars can you blow up with a 38 special?
None without any sort of like Tannerite or Pyrex or something.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that when I saw that, I was like, that is such Hollywood BS. But and
They use C4 instead of plaster on one of the fenders. And
Oh, that's how. Oh my gosh, there you go. This is why he's got to give up his whole operation over 2 cars. Instead of using fiberglass, they replaced it all with C4 to smuggle it across the country.
yeah, because you can't smuggle fiberglass.
No, you can't.
I think
smuggle
she's
C4,
saying
you
they were
replaced
smuggling
it.
the C4.
okay,
You replace
gotcha.
the fiberglass with C4. That car is about to blow in,
Very-
like outside of Zizix.
Very high turnover on mules.
it's more explosive in an accident than a Pinto being rear-ended.
Exactly.
But you guys,
See, this guy gets it.
But you guys thought it was dark, with him looking down the barrel of this 38 special. And I'm just kind of
Yeah.
thinking to myself, there was a Tales from the Crypt episode where a guy gets left in the desert and the birds are circling around. If you guys remember that.
Yes, that one
I had-
so creepy.
I had a similar thought here because this guy, as you mentioned, he's injured. He's got the stanky leg. He's over 100 miles from Silverado Auto Body Shop. And now he just blew up his only form of transportation, even if it was a clunker. So he's dying in the desert, right?
Well, but the freeway's coming soon, so that means the construction crew is coming by.
A
Yeah,
bus will
right?
be by any minute.
Someone will show up.
Look, Las Vegas only has 2 seasons: winter and construction. It's not winter.
Winter
It's
is
not
very
called
short.
Corvette Winter.
Maybe those dudes in the lowrider will catch him before he dies. You know what I mean? On the way back.
Yeah, I
She'll
saw
be
it
there
as
in
a
a week.
fact- I saw it as a fact. Him shooting it was a fact. It was most likely also a stolen vehicle. So him shooting it was destroying evidence.
Oh, that's actually a really good point.
And I did look it up as a fact. It's a 71 Trans Am.
Yeah,
Oh.
so Firebird.
Screaming chicken. All right. By the
Same
way,
chassis.
that Corvette and those Trans Ams and Camaros all share a similar platform. So they're all very
Yeah.
similar cars.
They're all
They all have 200 horsepower.
But I will say this. I will say this. You mentioned this earlier, Steve. The driving in that scene was actually really, really good.
Yeah.
Usually I find fault with a lot of those driving scenes, some of those chase scenes. I mean, granted, this didn't have like the 7-Ups type of chase scene or like Bullet or something like that, but it was short, it was concise, and it was clean. Like there wasn't anything like Dukes of Hazzard or anything like that. So mad props to, the team and the stuntmen for doing something that actually was pretty plausible.
Yeah,
The
you
best
would
car
see, like,
chase scene you've never heard of.
You would even see with like the transition when they like go from like the sand to the asphalt and stuff, like there'd be a little like skirk, and all that too. So it's like, oh yeah, this is real driver.
And the drifting was really clean. I was like, whoever's behind the wheel is doing a good job. So yeah.
Well, when you mentioned when he looked down the barrel of the pistol, shortly before that is when Mark Hamill's character pulls up behind the big boulder, and just by chance he comes to the other side, and Annie Potts' character hops up out and she's like, oh yeah, and she's like, I'm not going to be scared by this, because she thought it was just like something to scare her that Mark Hamill put on. And the dude starts shooting at her, so maybe that's how he was checking to see if there was still any ammo in it, which anyone who knows anything about firearms, is a stupid way to check.
yeah,
But
the exact opposite way you should be doing
yeah.
it.
We call that the Tiger King method.
Oh.
That's the Alec Baldwin method.
Dark. All right. Speaking of dark, we're going
Too
back to
soon?
high school, guys.
Woo!
Because Kenny pulls up there with his new hooker girlfriend and
Right.
basically drops off this dusty ass Stingray.
By the way,
with
they've got
Godzilla's
plenty of money
backbone.
for plenty of gas money.
Apparently. Well, they had to make a few stops at a gas station and she had to make some money.
I mean, she was in the scuba gear already, so.
They pulled up some truck stop, and she was a lot lizard on the way back.
Oh, check it out. This bikini, it wipes right off.
This neoprene is amazing.
And basically, like, he pulls the fire alarm, the whole school comes out, and the principal's like, what's going on here?
Danny Beneducci's just running around in the background screaming.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys saw it. He's just like, ah!
I was a sausage family. Ah! Yeah.
They said act natural, and his ADD just kicked in. He's like,
Took 2 lines of coke, and so that
was it off a hooker's ass, like in Wolf of Wall Street?
it wasn't Annie Potts.
Oh, Steve, that's not dust on that car.
Oh shit. But yeah, basically like hands the keys to the principal. Like, well, yeah, what about the cops? Like, yeah, I didn't tell the cops.
We should definitely inform the police.
It's like, no,
That's
don't.
very important.
You
You, got
got
your
it
crap
back.
back,
Don't
right?
worry about it.
Young lady, do you have anything to say about this? No.
Nah,
He
I'm
grabs
outta
her
here.
flip flops and her jeans and just walks off.
Basically from there, like someone brings him his diploma. That's where I'm like, oh, okay, so he graduated. All right, that's cool. And then he like walks after Eleanor, who's carrying her flip flops and stuff, and he's like, hey, you with the funny walk, like a true romantic.
Mhm.
And yeah, they kiss and hug and I don't know, walk off, and then the car wash during the credits.
No
Car
money
wash.
and no car.
That was a
Yeah,
wet
just-
sanding.
Well, and the weird thing is like when the teacher's talking to him at one point, he's like, I need you to tell me what I need to hear, or something along the lines of that. And it's like, what the hell do you want him to say? You know?
That was like that part in Ferris Bueller. He's like, well, that's how it is in that family. Super creepy. Like, I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so guys, would you recommend this movie?
For enjoyment or as punishment? What, do I get to pick?
Either way, if it's punishment. I mean,
No, you know, in all honesty, I actually enjoyed it. Like, we laughed, we had a good time. My wife and I watched it together. We talked about it as well, and it was fun. It was stupid. It was campy. There were some redeeming things. Like some of these movies you go into and you're like, oh God, this is gonna hurt. It wasn't bad. Would I watch it again? Maybe not.
I don't know who I would recommend it to, so I don't know how to answer would I or not.
Amy Potts fans.
So you wouldn't, because you wouldn't just like call up your friend and be like, oh my God, have you seen Corvette Summer?
you know that new
No.
movie you're looking for? Well, watch this. How about you, Matt Man?
I mean, I recommended it to Eric without even watching it. So, I mean,
Yeah, remember the Punisher
Sure.
part we were talking about? Yeah.
when I look at older movies, like, I take into consideration when it was made, the way things were done. It's a 70s, early 80s mentality movie. And one of the big things that I took away from it is like, much like the original Gone in 60 Seconds and older movies, there was that fraud aspect of insurance, which I always see these movies and I'm wondering, was the insurance fraud that big of a problem back then that they kept making movies about it? Because it's an ongoing theme. All in all, being a car, I enjoyed it for the cars in it, although the Corvette was horrible and Vanessa was definitely the star when it comes to the cars.
1000%. I agree. Yeah.
Other than the square body Suburban, because hey, it's a square body.
Nice. Well, yeah, it sounds like yeah, I'd recommend it. How about you, babe?
I would. And as you guys said, Vanessa is like the star of this movie. And I would almost count this as a vansploitation film, which is a genre. As we've mentioned a few examples, I highly recommend you guys look up the 1970s short-lived vansploitation genre. We talked about The Van and Super Van and its sequels. There's also CB Hustlers, Love Truck, Van Nuys Boulevard.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a whole bunch of them specifically from like 1970 to like 1979.
It's just movies with vans. Like, explain the genre for those
The
of us who
genre
don't
is
know.
like young people on adventures in vans.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like teenagers trying to get laid because they souped up their van and they go to a party and hijinks and
Or they go to a van festival.
or van festival. Yeah.
So Scooby-Doo meets American Pie. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's was it Super Van? It's like, oh yeah, a teenager and his scientist friend developed this ultimate AI van with like weapons, like it's something out of James Bond. Takes it out on the weekend for a weekend of hijinks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did see on Wikipedia, it's noted Van Nuys Boulevard is considered the most technically correct van film. So if you're looking for the vehicles and the technical correctness,
Like
I look for
Dungeon Girls and
accuracy
stuff?
when I watch movies like this.
Yeah.
I'm a stickler for the facts.
I knew you guys would find that a very important fact.
Nice. Well, speaking of nerdy things, we basically went through most of the fun facts I had, except $9 million budget, $15.5 million worldwide gross.
It's a hit!
And any guesses what the critics thought on Rotten Tomatoes? What percentage of them thought it was a good movie?
Is this with 2022 inflation, or are we talking about 1970s ratings?
I'm guessing since 2000 if it's Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't know. What's the number?
It's 56% with the critics, so just under fresh officially. Audience score, though, 43%.
That's not bad.
this movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, yeah.
Annie Potts is fucking adorable. I mean,
It's genuinely funny. There's some
good stunt
genuinely good driving.
Yeah.
So I got a question. Since we love Annie Potts in this movie, Mark Hamill, whatever, right? I think he brought the fame and notoriety. Obviously, he was riding that Star Wars high there, or the cocaine high. We're not really sure which, but who would we replace Mark Hamill with if we were to recast
Harrison
this
Ford.
film? Really?
No,
I don't know.
come on. No, here's the thing. I don't think Mark Hamill does a bad job at being a dopey, sort of dumb teenager.
There's nobody else though from that era that you could replace him with?
Yeah, I don't know.
Kurt Russell.
Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
Wait, is it Matthew McConaughey like 6 at this time?
Yeah,
I was going to say, right?
Probably. I don't know.
I have to go and get my cars.
Why didn't you come in bed with me? All right.
I don't know, but see, he was 27 years old playing a 16, 17-year-old. So
I'd say 18 since he graduated.
Are
yeah,
we-
that's right.
I graduated at
Graduate.
17. So
Are we gonna
whatever.
be mad about the ages? And if we are, then are we gonna talk about like 90210 or any
Well,
of those?
no. What I'm saying, I don't have a problem with that. I'm saying he looked a lot younger than 27. So who in that time frame? I don't think Kurt Russell probably looked 18.
Yeah, I guess
He was 27.
Yeah, I guess the thing was like 2 years later. So yeah, good point. Yeah, God, 70s teenager. Ooh, Leif Garrett. No, I don't know. like I'm trying to think teenagers I know in the 70s. Jodie Foster.
Same
Jodie
haircut.
Foster and Annie Potts. I'd watch it.
You know what?
That's the Vanessa sequel.
Jackie
Yeah.
Earl Haley.
I was thinking Tom Selleck for a minute, but then I'm like, oh, it's just another episode of Magnum PI. So no.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, because this character was too dumb, right? There were multiple instances where he showed he was not the brightest crayon or the sharpest tool in the box.
We cast Peter Falk walking around with his Columbo trench coat.
Oh, Peter Falk's definitely the shop teacher.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Oh, guys, I got it. Kevin Bacon, that fresh off like Animal House. Or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. Okay.
There we
Yeah,
go.
I could do
There
that.
we go. You're welcome.
Except for here's the problem: like Annie Potts looks like an actual child next to him.
I mean, yeah.
Don't make it weird, Izzy. Don't make it weird. Okay.
I'm just saying this adds to the budget because we have to to shoot in perspective.
And playing Kevin Bacon's mom, Kira Sedgwick. Got her.
Now, if we did this movie today, I would put Emma Stone, like in Cruella, in the place of Annie Potts. If we were going to recast this,
You just
today.
want to see her as a hooker. I understand. I
Well,
get
you
it.
know, hey, whatever. It's all good.
I mean, sure, she's like in her late 30s, but I get it. We just do the Stranger Things thing. It's
there we
11 and Finn Wolfhard or whatever are the two people.
Yeah, Billy Bobby Brown and Finn
Are
Wolfhard.
you guys 18 yet?
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's all we got, guys. I don't know any important lessons we learned from this movie, since that's our podcast.
Anything you learned from movie?
I think I learned that I can probably keep up on foot with a C3 Corvette. So, we're going to test this theory out.
So here's a little one for cars in the movie, because I'm digging through looking at some stuff here. There was a 73 Stutz Blackhawk in it.
No, really?
Yeah, it's there on the strip during one of the scenes. It's white.
Oh, nice. By the way, this is one of the funkiest 70s cars ever. Like celebrities like Elvis had one and whatever. Dan wrote a whole article about it. We'll share it with our audience. We'll actually bring it back out from the grave, do a little
It's
throwback
white
Thursday.
It's a G body that had, if I recall correctly, Italian influence on the designing of it, but it was basically a Monte Carlo chassis, and it had the exhaust coming out, running down the side of it.
Ooh.
So
Oh yeah. Oh shit, that looks like
That looks like the car.
yeah, the car. Yeah, a little modified.
It's a
and
pimp
stuff,
pimp
so.
mobile. Yeah, a little bit of Cruella DeVille in there as well. But
Oh
it's-
yeah, I can see it.
It's like the European cousin of the car.
Yeah.
The way it looks,
Yeah,
like
the sleek,
style.
stylish English version. Yeah.
Have
yeah,
you folks
okay.
seen the car?
No, what is that?
that's it. Yeah.
Oh, it's a killer car movie. It's like people in the middle of the desert being chased by a sentient car chasing them down. Yeah, I think it's from like 77, 78.
77.
I feel like maybe that's a great
They did
segue.
a remake of it too, didn't
James
they?
Brolin's in it.
Yeah, two bicyclists are run down by a strange black car in the desert near a small town in Utah. This is just the first in a series of hit and run murders. Sheriff Wade Parents, James Brolin, is called to investigate, and his deputy, Everett, John Marley, is killed by the black sedan.
That's right. That's the movie with the music from The Shining. The
Yes.
Ba, 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 or what?
So,
Yeah, they built this cool big custom car for it. The car is like often referred to as the brother of Christine.
Oh, okay.
I've seen that movie. Yeah.
okay. I'm looking up pictures of it right now.
Yeah, it's like a
Definitely got
modified Lincoln Continental or something.
definitely a menacing looking front end on it.
Right? It's a fun, bad, cheesy horror movie. Have a couple of drinks and have some fun watching it.
Well, Steve and Izzy, it's a pleasure to get together with you guys as always. And it sounds like we might have some other films that maybe we can get together and review in the future. So it's always good, to get the petrol
absolutely.
heads together with the movie buffs. So I appreciate you guys inviting us back and doing this. It was absolutely a lot of fun. So for your listeners, for the folks that are listening to this, we are available on all your favorite podcatchers, to use Steve's term, under Break Fix, or you can also search Grand Touring, and you can find us on the web at gtmotorsports.org or on social media at Grand Touring Motorsports. That's GRAN with no D, Touring Motorsports.
So yeah, thanks for having us, guys. It's been
Yeah.
fantastic. And Babe, are you on social media at all?
I am. You can find me everywhere at Untidy Venus. That's a goddess who's bad at housekeeping. I'm an artist. I sell my arts and goods and wares over at untidyvenus.etsy.com. You can see works in progress, pictures of my pets, shots from our mountain over on my Instagram and on my Facebook, and occasionally on my Twitter at Untidy Venus. I also have a Patreon where I'm putting together some little really easy how-to videos to get started on your own basic art. I have a sticker of the month club, all kinds of fun stuff at Untidy Venus on Patreon. How about you, Steve? Where can we find you?
Excuse me, as Eric said, you can find us on all your favorite podcatchers under Everything I Learned from Movies, or you can hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, or Patreon at EILF Movies. That's Everything I Learned from Movies. But not Instagram, because fuck those guys. Somebody
No.
hacked my account. They're not helping us get it back.
Apparently,
So,
a Utah ID is not a valid ID in the eyes of Instagram, so they don't know who owns it.
be careful
So
in that metaverse, people. Yeah,
go ahead
but,
and block and report that account, because they'll just ask you for $120.
yeah, and hit us up on Twitter, because that's the one I really check, because that's the one that works at
Yeah.
EILF Movies. So yeah, I guess until next time, I'm Steve.
And I'm Izzy.
And we're Break Fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is Everything I Learned from Movies.
No, wait, it's not. It's
Oh,
everything
it's-
I learned from Break Fix.
Break Fix.
Now that you're throwing it in.
It's our new jingle.
Yeah. We gotta do the auto tune. Everything I learned from Break Fix.
Nice.
Break
Hey.
fix. It's break fix.
Fix. If you like what you've heard and want to learn more about GTM, be sure to check us out on www.gtmotorsports.org. You can also find us on Instagram at Grand Touring Motorsports. Also, if you want to get involved or have suggestions for future shows, you can call or text us at 202-630-1770 or send us an email at crewchief@gtmotorsports.org. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey everybody, Crew Chief Eric here. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Break Fix, and we wanted to remind you that GTM remains a no annual fees organization, and our goal is to continue to bring you quality episodes like this one at no charge. As a loyal listener, please consider subscribing to our Patreon for bonus and behind-the-scenes content, extra goodies, and GTM swag. For as little as $2.50 a month, you can keep our developers, writers, editors, casters, and other volunteers fed on their strict diet of Fig Newtons, gummy bears, and Monster. Consider signing up for Patreon today at www.patreon.com/GT Motorsports. And remember, without fans, supporters, and members like you, none of this would be possible.